Ranji on KMOX.
This was not
was here this
pre-approved.
So you're stuck with me, and I'm all you got. So you're gonna have to make the best of it.
This is just absolutely outrageous. But John, I'll tell you this:
unbelievable.
I will never be upset if it's just you here.
Yeah,
because I love you.
We're all about to find out.
We've got a lot of questions for you, buddy.
We got a lot of. Yeah, that's right, pal. We have a lot of things to bring up with you.
I'm ready.
It is the.
But it's the top of the order.
Well, not.
What?
Not yet.
What's happening?
Like, give me a couple of seconds, would you?
Oh, yeah, you got to tell them about the...
There's a phone number.
You got the app out there. You got the YouTube.
He started to panic.
You got the
John, what's the app?
The Facebook.
What is the app that people can download?
That's the Audacity app.
Well, no, it isn't. Audacity is a completely different app.
No.
It's the Odyssey app.
Is there an Audacity app?
There is. It is a sound editing app. It's a free app.
Now, this is information.
Seriously.
We are the information source of St. Louis, right? And you just shared some information with the people.
I feel like that is the most useless information, though.
I use it all the time.
You got it.
That's why I know about it.
You got to edit the sound out.
I don't have the Audacity app.
Well, you need to get it.
It's free.
The Audacity.
Just like the Odyssey app, Audacy, also free. This show's on it. The podcasts are on it. Cardinals baseball is on it. And that's good because you know it's tomorrow.
Cardinals baseball.
That's right.
Yes.
First spring game.
I love that. I love tuning in the first game of spring training.
Noon o'clock.
And you're going to see snow on the ground.
Yes.
And you're going to hear the beautiful sounds, the ambiance of Cardinals baseball on KMOX.
You're going to hear the crunch of the gravel when the players walk out to the
crack of the bat.
Oh, man. Let's go.
And the thump of the ball
glove.
in the mitt.
Yes.
Yeah,
the thump.
It's a thud.
You just got to love
think
the
it's more
thump.
of a thud than
it's
a thump.
Thud.
No,
it's not a thump. It's a thud.
Oh, I disagree wholeheartedly.
You think it's a thump?
It's a thump.
You're out of your mind.
Maybe that's our poll for the day.
Yes. Is the ball hitting the mitt a thud or a thump? All right, put it on the Twitter.
We're gonna put it on the.
We are on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX. You can watch the show live there. Also Facebook and YouTube. You can watch us. Find KMOX 1120, and there we are.
Time now for the top of the order. The top three stories everybody will be talking about.
Well, how about Jordan Binnington and Canada last night? Jordan Binnington was outstanding. As the Canadians won that Four Nations Cup, the mid-season tournament. It was a lot of fun, like we all suspected it would be, even if we weren't excited for it.
And the Missouri House
I
there.
wasn't. But everybody else was. It was fun.
The Missouri House over there in Jefferson City passes a bill to shift St. Louis police control back to a state board.
And Cardinals spring training, as we mentioned, begins tomorrow. And you know what else is tomorrow? Take a guess. Come on, John. We got Cardinals baseball tomorrow afternoon. What is tomorrow evening? What starts up tomorrow evening?
Home opener.
City SC. The home opener is tomorrow.
Now, that's that game where you can't use your hands.
That is exactly right.
Have you been to a City SC game?
I have not.
Oh,
I've been to the offices though.
The offices of City?
Yeah, they're lovely.
They are really nice.
Yeah.
Energizer Park.
Why have you
gorgeous.
been in there?
Huh?
How'd you get to
well,
go
I
in
got
there?
I see people. I do
well,
stuff.
I guess you do. I haven't been to the office.
He knows the governor.
I know you know the governor.
I do know the governor.
We've had him on a couple of times.
Yes.
Yeah, but I feel like he's better friends with him than we are.
Does he like us?
Oh, yeah. He loves you guys.
That's damn right.
He talks about you all the time.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That's so cool.
Can he get me out of a jam?
Yes, he can.
The governor can get me out of a jam?
Well, it depends on what the jam is.
All right. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to be, last thought, I would like to be invited to his Christmas party because I think you're not really friends with someone until you get invited to a Christmas party. So anyway, you can make a note of that, John.
I'm on it.
Okay.
That's coming up here in a few weeks.
We have a Michael Kelly-less John Hancock.
We
today.
do.
This is
it's unbelievable.
It's a rare.
Hey.
Yes.
But I'm so glad we have John and that we can really focus on John Hancock today because congratulations to you.
Thank you.
This guy, would you like to tell the world?
Well, I got a grandson who showed up.
That's right.
Oh, boy. Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, I went to bed after watching the Mizzou Tigers defeat the Alabama Crimson Tide the other night.
How about that?
Well, wait. What did you watch before that?
Dateline.
Yeah.
A really good Dateline.
It was 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, you heard that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to repeat myself, but so anyway, and I couldn't sleep. I mean, I just, for whatever reason, and then I rolled over and I made the mistake. You never do this, by the way.
Roll over.
Well, you can roll over, although it gets a little harder. But never do this if you're playing along at home. Don't at 3:00 in the morning pick up your phone. Don't do it.
I've done it.
Don't do it.
It's bad.
Don't do it.
Bad.
And when you pick up your phone and there's a text message from your wife from midnight saying that our daughter is in labor and she's over at their house watching their 3-year-old, because you might not be able to go back to sleep at that point.
Well, there's no way you're going back to sleep.
Exactly.
You didn't want to get that message.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would have rather gotten it at 6:30
Okay.
than at 3:00 in the morning. So yesterday is a blur. Little Nico is born,
Oh.
and he's healthy and everything's great. And we got to go visit him, and we're the custodians of Tula now until Sunday. So
And how old is Tula?
she's 2 years and 10 months old,
Oh.
so almost 3. And this is a curious new world that she's woken up to now
Well,
that she's got a baby brother.
very much so. Did
Yeah.
she? I mean, I imagine that was a conversation that you guys had,
Oh,
or
yeah.
that her parents had, like, you're going to have a little baby brother.
Yeah.
So was she kind of like, where'd the baby come from? Because sometimes the from the stomach to holding the baby in the arms doesn't quite make sense to a toddler.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that in theory, the baby brother is a really great thing,
Hmm.
but in practice and application, when you're spending the night at Yaya and Papa's house,
Yeah.
and mommy's not there, that's a bit traumatic.
Yeah.
So we've lived through all of that. So the little thing should be at school right now. She's got
Aw.
it's their delayed Valentine's party today.
Oh.
Yeah, because of all the snow and the closing. So yeah.
And what did I say to you last night? That you have added another family member that has to listen to you, because everybody in the family has to do what you say, and you disagree.
Yeah, nobody does what I say.
How is that true? And what did I tell you to do? If they don't listen to you, pull the funding.
Well, there you go.
Pull the funding.
Funding.
I do a little doge of my own. I can be my own little doge in the family.
Just
there.
start cutting family members.
Yes.
Going in
My
with a
dad would be on board with that. He would always say, this is not a democracy. It's a benevolent dictatorship. And I am a benevolent dictator. So you're welcome. But yeah. And he's like, I'm not running a resort.
So tomorrow, I've got Tula by myself for like 4 hours
You're going
because
to do great.
Georgianne's got a wedding shower to go to. And this be my first solo excursion with the granddaughter. And I will confess, in 2 years and 10 months, I've not changed a diaper.
Wait.
And
what?
Really?
yeah, no.
I didn't know that.
You know what? That's
Yeah.
real power.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
That's real power.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
not. No, I'm not touching that
It's
diaper.
called the poo-poo power.
So I may be in need of doing that myself tomorrow.
You're going to do great.
A little nervous about it. A little
You'll
worried
be
about
all
it.
right.
Okay. All right.
With girls, it's a little bit easier.
I mean, it's easy for me
You're
to say.
not
By the
gonna
way.
you're not gonna get the wildfire.
Well, that's an excellent point.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember those days too.
Yes.
It just yeah. So anyway, enough about me. Enough about me. How's it with you guys?
Everything
It's
here
great.
is perfectly
It's
fine.
absolutely great.
It's a Friday. We're going to.
Are you in town this weekend, Ron?
I am here.
Wow.
Yesterday, and in fact, he has to reach out to a young woman.
What?
Yes, because yesterday we were making decisions by rolling a pair of dice.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
and so Ron, as
know the
do
story?
you know the story?
About the girl that you
The
went to
sister?
New Year's Eve with,
And
Yes.
then she tried to
right.
pawn me off on her
Yeah,
sister.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
he rolled a 7.
Yeah.
He had to reach out to the
So,
sister,
John,
and guess
let's-
what this guy rolled?
a 7.
Seven.
Yes,
So I have to contact the sister.
Oh, you haven't done it yet.
No,
Oh,
it was just yesterday.
it was just yesterday.
well, but I mean, daylight's burning, brother. I
Well,
mean, you
Friday
gotta
was a pretty full show. We want to
Look,
save it for a slow
hey.
news day.
She's not going anywhere.
Well, You know, what if
she seems like a lovely
what
person.
if the cosmos conspires
So-
here and you end up falling deeply,
I
madly in
know.
love with this woman?
Yeah, okay.
Mrs. Ranji. We'll go back and clip
What
this
an
tape.
idea.
PJ, clip the tape here. 'Cause,
Yeah.
we may need to reference this at some point.
Yeah, at the divorce proceedings. Well, this will be there.
And we will say, well, you never should have taken advice from the sheriff's office.
But because the St. Louis sheriff allegedly threatened a deputy with his job if he didn't roll a 7 with dice,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the guy was.
Well, you've got the dice.
So we have
Yeah.
dice. We decided that we're just going to solve every issue with
With
dice
dice.
now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So any decision, if you
I
have
like
something
this.
that you're trying to work through,
Okay.
if you want an answer, should I do this? Should I
Yeah.
do the other thing?
Yeah.
Tell us what it is. And
What
we'll
are
roll the
the-
dice for you.
What
and
are the total number of combinations one could roll with 2 dice? So you got 1 to
Oh,
6.
my
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you got
there's
1
a-
to 6.
Here's what I could tell you.
So let's see. So one
This is the number we know.
6. You got
You have a 16.7% chance of rolling a 7.
Someone said that's not true
No, it is true.
because someone after the show told me we were all wrong.
Well, not so. Well, you got your 1 and your
That
6
person's
out here.
wrong.
You got the 2 and the 5 over
Well,
there,
You got the 1 and the 6.
and you got the 3 and the 4. So there's 3 possibilities.
Let me throw out the number here: 314-436.
Are we going to get more math wizards texting in?
No,
1
we
to
don't want
6.
math. No.
So
We
1
want.
and 5.
Are you making a life decision? So yesterday, John,
So
someone
6.
quit their job.
Somebody did quit their
And
job
they
because we rolled a
we rolled a
7 for
7.
them.
Ooh.
Yeah,
And it sounded like they worked at a school.
and they're
they,
going to drive Uber now.
they were like, should I quit my job and go drive Uber? And
Yeah.
we're like, okay, well,
Okay.
let's roll the dice and see. And then they sent me the resignation letter
Yeah.
they were going to send.
Wow.
So
So 314-436-7900.
I also-
436-7900. Call or text. We'll make the decision for you.
we should also preface this by saying that just like the legal
Oh, yeah.
advertising we do,
Yeah.
it is probably not.
Yeah. I
You
actually,
probably should not make your decision solely based on the dice we
I
roll.
highly recommend you don't do it. But we're here in case you want to.
That's right. So
I think
let
it's
us
a
know.
horrible decision on your part
If
to
you have a-
make your life decisions based on the roll of our dice. But listen, we got 4 hours to kill. We'll do it.
If you have a
We'll
huge
kill 'em.
decision,
We're
to
gonna
make-
kill all of them.
well, damn, well, hold on. Come on. If you have a huge decision to
Yeah.
make, tell us what the problem is, what the question is, and we will roll dice and determine what you should do.
Can't
right?
wait.
John Hancock is with the stove for a couple more segments. Amy Marks scores, Chris Ranji. It's a Friday on the Chris and Amy Show.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Start the new year off right with your best vision for 2024. This is Megan Lynch for Ophthalmology Associates. Now's the time to schedule your annual eye exam. It's what I'm doing for my entire family. The doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Berry. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or you can get more information information at youridoc.com. One of the conditions they can test and treat is dry eye. When the furnace is running, you're at greater risk for dry eye disease. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates can prescribe the perfect eye drops to prevent and treat dry eye. Ophthalmology Associates is located at 12990 Manchester Road, a half-mile west of I-270 on eastbound Manchester Road. Call Ophthalmology Associates 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
St. Louis stories. St. Louis pride. KMOX is the voice of St. Louis.
Centering pass, McDavid scores! Connor McDavid wins it for Canada! And Jordan Binnington has done it again inside the TD Garden.
You love this song?
Something about the melody.
It's perfect.
I will say it is the ideal
It's the best.
national anthem.
Well, I would beg to differ.
Hold on. Let me, before we get into this contest over whose national anthem is better, ESPN with the highlights. Jordan Binnington was fantastic last night in helping Canada win the Four Nations Cup. John, let me say, John, before you
Getting whimsical listening to the Canadian national anthem.
This song,
People are losing their minds right now.
this song is perfect. It is.
It's just
I'm
easier
sorry.
to sing.
Look,
It's easier to sing. Our national
It
anthem
is.
is very hard to sing.
it's so hard. It's a
Glorious
an
and
English,
free.
It's an English drinking song. It's just not.
Oh, Canada.
It's difficult. This is awesome.
We stand
I
on
love.
guard for thee.
Oh my god.
Oh, Canada.
It's a banger.
Mm.
I'd listen to this just driving around.
Yeah. I mean, really.
Look, I love this
Wow.
country.
I love this
I'm
country.
proud to be an American.
Stand
So
on
proud
guard.
to be
Where
an
at least I
American.
know I'm free.
Standing on guard for thee.
You're not free in Canada, you know. They have taxes.
They do.
But listen. Let me say this.
Silly coins up there.
I'm gonna say this about that national anthem. It
Yeah.
is objectively the best national
Second
anthem.
best.
What's number one?
Finland.
How does Finland go?
Finlandia.
Can we get,
All right,
can
Matt
we get
Pajeski.
Finlandia? Matt
Finlandia.
Pajeski?
Let's pull up Finlandia. It's a wonderful piece of music.
So
I
there's
don't
a
know.
guy who's
Canada
a
is so
Hey,
good.
Oh, Canada's good.
he's a
So good.
troll on Twitter.
Written by John Williams.
Stop it.
I made that up.
No, but he did
No,
write
he-
someone's national anthem.
I'm sure he did.
John Williams
It's John
was asked.
Williams.
Did
Yes.
right after or before Star Wars?
I don't know. How about this? Listen to that rich harmony. Bunch of guys here singing.
This is good.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. All right, that's
I
enough of
don't
that.
look. I don't know if it's better.
I like the Canada one.
I think
Okay,
"Oh Canada"
fine.
is better.
Yeah.
That one sounds more like a Christmas song.
It does sound a little Christmassy.
Yeah.
There was speaking of Finland, there was a troll on Twitter who does this occasionally. Apparently, he'll go, "Ugh, I've still never seen a beautiful woman from Finland," and then people respond with pictures of all these beautiful women.
Dude.
It's kind of funny that he does it because obviously, you know, the famous trope of these beautiful Swedish and Finnish women, and they're like, I've never seen a beautiful woman from Finland.
I actually was not thinking of the anthem from Finland. I was thinking of the piece Finlandia,
I honestly don't.
which is from a work
So it's not a national anthem.
Apparently not, because all these years I thought Finlandia was the national anthem. It should be because it's a gorgeous piece
Wait,
of
so
music.
that wasn't what you thought it was?
No, that was
Oh.
apparently PJ over here, young Matt Pajeski over here found the actual national anthem of Finland. Oh, here it is. Now this is a gorgeous piece of music.
Well, it is, but it doesn't count. It's not a national anthem.
It should be.
It's
the national song.
Do we have a national song?
Is it God Bless America?
Yeah,
Is that a
probably.
national song?
Well, that's God Save the King, isn't it? This is nice.
This is
Do
very
we not all agree?
It's good. I think
Bit of a
Canada's
downer.
still better.
Oh, Canada, you pull out
It's
an
a
acoustic
hymn.
guitar.
Hmm?
You pull out an acoustic guitar.
Be Still My Soul. Yes.
It is beautiful. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a different category of things that we're talking about.
I did not expect to be talking about any of these.
Well, you
things
started
this
it,
morning.
so-
I did. We were talking about the hockey game.
Jordan Bennington.
Yes.
How about him, man?
Well, what he has done. Now you think about this now. Jordan Bennington has won the Stanley Cup. He's now won this international competition. If he should be the goalkeeper for the Canadian team in the Olympics in 2 years, he will have won the gold medal in the Olympics. No goaltender in the history of the National Hockey League has accomplished those three
Wow.
things.
And the fact that it was just so out of nowhere. The whole Bennington thing was just so out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, yeah, a couple thoughts on this. As John mentioned, the Olympics, Jordan Bennington faced hefty criticism
Yeah.
from Canadian fans.
Big
I mean,
time.
Yeah.
People think Cardinals fans are angry. People think Philly fans are bad. It is
Nobody thinks
nothing.
Cardinals fans are angry.
Well, like angry at the team right now, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
we're mad, we're complaining. No. You don't get it. Until you go to Canada, there is a TMZ channel in Montreal just to follow everybody that has anything to do with the Montreal Canadiens. They bring in Mark Bergevin, the general manager, had to sneak in through back doors in places because it is a mob of media. The fans, the media can be very hostile at times because they're so passionate about it. So Jordan Bennington was facing his share of criticism for his play. I mean, as good as it was. And last night's game, multiple media personalities, sports personalities in Canada were saying this could be the determining game of whether or not Jordan Bennington starts in goal for Team Canada in Italy in the Olympics.
Well, I don't see how they start anybody else at this point.
Now they can't. But I mean,
Right.
they were saying if Jordan Bennington cannot win this game, there's a good chance that Team Canada is not going to have faith in him for the Olympics. That's a huge amount of pressure. He played out of his mind. And again, he has won before in TD Garden.
He has. And
2019.
Jordan Bennington, on a personal level,
Mhm.
coached me and Georgianne through the Toronto airport to catch our connecting flight to London last year.
Are you serious?
He was sitting there and he was in first class.
He must have been
We
calm.
we were back with our knees on our chins, you
Mhm.
know. But you get off the flight there, and apparently the Toronto airport, you got to go like 2 miles
Hmm.
to get to the next. I mean, it's crazy. And I got my bags, and I'm big, and there was Jordan Bennington. He said, "You can do it, guys. Lift your legs up. Go." And he's coaching us through the thing there, running to the airplane. What a guy. I love the guy. My
That's
favorite hockey
incredible.
player.
Great.
That's awesome. Well,
There's-
he played great. And I really was cheering for Team USA because Team USA, I'm an American. I'm proud of it. But if we were going to lose, I'm glad
Oh, me
Benner had
too.
a good game.
I did fall asleep before it was over. And
Yeah,
but
well.
my impression, based on what I actually saw,
Uh-huh.
is that Connor Hellebuck had a better game overall than
Hellebuck
Bennington.
is
Was I-
the best goaltender in the NHL,
Yeah.
hands down right now.
but am I wrong about that? I thought
No.
Okay.
Also, I was
He
thinking
made
that
some amazing.
I don't know. I'm not a hockey tactical genius. I would think you would not want to leave Connor McDavid open in the slot. Peter Baugh writes for The Athletic, and he wrote this about Jordan Bennington. These are some pretty incredible numbers.
Yeah.
In 2019, in the second round of Game 7 against Dallas, 29 of 30 saves.
Yep.
2019 Stanley Cup Final Game 7 against Boston, 32 of 33.
Yep.
In the Four Nations Face-Off Final, 31 of 33.
Mm.
He is 3-0 in those games. He's huge, clearly, in huge games.
Yeah. I mean, it's inarguable.
Remember, he was
awesome.
like a 4th string in Boston when we got him. He was like a
It's
practice
this
goalie.
whole thing is he's not Kurt Warner. He's not a Hall of Famer. But dude, it is a Kurt Warner-esque kind of thing because he wasn't supposed to do that. He wasn't supposed to help them to a Stanley Cup.
And for him to come up that big in that moment, yes. I mean, Jordan Binnington, I don't see how he is not the starting goaltender for Team Canada.
And he's
in
a
the
fine
Olympics.
young man.
John Hancock, Amy Marks Coors, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan with a quick reminder. Schedule that annual eye exam. Routine eye exams not only diagnose vision changes, but can detect systemic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, thyroid disease, to name just a few. Do what I do. Call Ophthalmology Associates at 314-966-5000. The doctors there, Greg Birdie, Ranj Malhotra, Samuel Berry, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, will provide you with the area's most comprehensive eye exam. These doctors can also help with dry eye disease, the result of staring at screens, flying in airplanes, or living in a dry environment. Dry eye sounds harmless, but it can cause inflammation, blurred vision, and damage to the eye surface that's sometimes difficult to reverse. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates are expert in diagnosis and treatment of dry eye disease. 314-966-5000, youridoc.com.
At 10:30, some sun. It is 19 downtown at the Arch. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed revenge for what he described as a cruel and malicious violation of the ceasefire agreement with Hamas. His remarks followed the release of a body that Israeli authorities found was not that of an Israeli mother of 2 young boys. As the Palestinian militants had promised, Hamas said it would conduct a review of the information regarding the body. Stalled vehicle 55 going north at Butler Hill in the right lane. Some road work on 70 East at Cave Springs Truman, and the left lane is closed there. High today at 27 degrees. Lows tonight ranging from 10 to 17 in the city, and tomorrow sunshine with a high of 41. Right now we've got 19 degrees. Feels like it's 29. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Waking up from a coma years ago had me feeling stuck. Don't get stuck in a winter freeze with a broken garage door. For repairs or replacement, call your local experts at Renner.
RENNER. RENNER.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Seidman Cancer Center Spotlight. This month we are focusing on National Cancer Prevention Month. And joining us is Dr. Graham Kolditz, Associate Director at Seidman Cancer Center.
More than half of cancer is preventable by literally changing the way we live, whether it's how we eat, drink, exercise, have vaccines, have screenings.
Special thanks to Seidman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to seidman.wustl.edu.
College sports hold a mythic place in American culture, but sometimes the drama off the court overshadows the action on it.
The higher-ups are concerned about one thing, and that is avoiding scandal.
I'm Margot Gray. On the new podcast, Campus Files, we cover everything, including some of the biggest scandals in college sports. Listen to and follow Campus Files, an Odyssey original podcast, available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS. That's newnordicusa.com.
Are you looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance of a home? Check out the Towns of Linneman. New townhomes by Lombardo Homes, located in St. Peters. These luxury new construction townhomes are located on the south side of Route 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. The multi-million-dollar amenity package includes a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, children's play area, and walking trails. Visit LombardoHomes.com for more information information.
Hey guys, it's Kevin Wheeler. Struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain? Game Day Men's Health has you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more, all in a relaxed environment that's like being in the man cave. At Game Day, you get a free testosterone test and consultation all in just an hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with 3 area locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com and get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health.
Special announcement. Together Credit Union is now accepting applications for its Together Foundation Community Scholarship Program. This year, Together Credit Union will award 5 $1,500 scholarships to eligible students who live and work in St. Louis City, St. Louis County, St. Charles County, Jefferson County, Madison County, or St. Clair County. Applications for the Together Foundation Community Scholarship are accepted until Monday, March 31st. Learn more at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
City SC returns to the pitch this Saturday to kick off the 2025 season at Enterprise Park against the Colorado Rapids. Pre-game at 7, kick at 7:30, and you can hear the game on your home for St. Louis City Soccer, Y98.
That's the Joshua Rifkin recording of the Maple Leaf Rag, 1970 on None Such Records.
How do you know that?
Wow.
I just know things, Raj. Yeah.
The Scott Joplin house.
This was Rifkin.
Look.
Rifkin is I don't know if he's still with us, but was a classical pianist and had recorded a lot of Beethoven and things. And he recorded Scott Joplin in 1970. This is before the Sting.
Mm-hmm.
And None Such was a classical musical label, and he played Joplin's music under the hands of a classical pianist, which is what you're hearing now. And it went on to set records on the classical music charts. It sold, and that was the basis when George Hill, who was the producer or the director of the Sting in 1973, it was because of this recording of Rifkin that he chose to use Scott Joplin's music as the soundtrack, and turned it over to the hands of Marvin Hamlisch to record the soundtrack for the Sting, which went on to win the Academy Award for Best Soundtrack in 1973.
Joplin grew up in that Mill Creek, right?
No, he grew up in Texarkana.
Did he just performed in Mill Creek Valley?
Well,
he
lived. So he went from Texarkana. They ran him out of town. His mother had been she was freeborn. His father had been a slave, and they were living in Texarkana. His mother was a laundress, and Joplin, the whole family, very musical. And he performed at a Jefferson Davis tribute in the park. Yeah,
wow,
in Texarkana.
Whoa.
And they basically got run out of town. The African American community did not take kindly to the fact that he performed at the Jefferson Davis Festival. And
obviously,
so he gets run out of town, and he takes off and ends up ultimately in Sedalia, Missouri, where he wrote this piece, The Maple Leaf Rag, published in 1899. Became a wildly popular piece of music at the time, and he had negotiated for himself a royalty. He got 1 cent a copy for every copy of this thing that sold. Probably the first black composer to get a royalty on his publications. And so he did quite well and moved to St. Louis. And that's when that all happened around 1900, 1901. And his home on Del Mar, where he lived, is now a state historic site.
That's awesome.
Thanks to you. You helped save and restore the Scott Joplin home.
Yes.
John, what's your favorite Slipknot song?
Oh, I like that one where you're banging your head.
Yep. That's the one.
I'm impressed you even knew what that meant.
I totally made that up. Was that?
Yeah.
Was I right about that?
That's that kind of band.
When you're a musical aficionado.
This guy didn't even know "Help Me, Rhonda" because it was too new.
But they're the banging your head thing, the Slipknots. That's remarkable what just happened. That's like getting Final Jeopardy right when you have absolutely no idea what Alex is talking about. You just come up with Homer. Yes, that's the author from Antiquity. That's what just happened right there.
That was
I just pulled that one out of the that was something.
You know what? I'm going to use these dice right now.
All right, let's
And
do it.
here's why.
All right.
There are plenty of issues that we should talk about
I
in
know.
politics.
We're gonna get in trouble.
I don't-
You
I
had
kinda
John
don't even care.
Hancock.
Who
You
cares
had
if we get
John
in trouble?
Hancock in studio being
Get in trouble by whom?
It
The
rhymes
listeners?
with me sore.
Me s'more, yes. Listen,
you think he's listening to this?
Listen, here's what we're gonna do, because we do have some issues we could get to.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There are two options. Either people can text us and let us know what they want us to do.
All right.
314-436-7900. Or I'm gonna roll these dice.
I could wax poetic about some other topic.
here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna roll the dice twice.
What?
I'm gonna roll these dice.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna do 2 rolls.
All right. 2 rolls.
If it comes up 7,
Sounds
either
like
roll.
my chin.
Oh my god.
Oh.
If it comes up 7 either time,
yes,
we're gonna get into some serious issues.
All right.
All right.
If it doesn't, woo! Right?
All right.
Here we go.
Here comes
First
Ron.
roll.
Come on.
8.
8. That's
All
no
right.
good.
Okay, good. All right, one more roll.
All right. Here it is.
Here we go.
It's all in the dice right there.
6.
6. Oh, we're
All
safe.
right,
All
all
right.
right. Screwing around for another few
But
minutes.
the average of 8 and 6 is 7. You know.
Well, we're not
That's
averaging.
an excellent point.
No, we're not averaging.
All right. We'll
We're not
talk about
doing
whatever you want, Ron. So I'm here.
I feel like we should.
I'm here
ask.
for the people.
I do want to ask.
Okay, never mind. Forget the dice.
I'm
Amy.
going to ask you a serious question,
All right,
though,
fine.
and
Here
I
we go.
apologize.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. I would like to hear
Yeah.
your assessment of the current situation, which seems to be a turn for the U.S. government in its approach to Vladimir Putin,
Mhm.
Russia, Zelensky, and the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, I think it's a broader question than just Ukraine. The United States has built its foreign policy for the last 80 years on developing a series of alliances that are mutually secured with one another, so that we basically vow to defend our allies if and when they are ever attacked. Ukraine, not a member of NATO, but an alliance with the United States, and certainly a predilection to following Western European. They were attacked. They are a sovereign country. They were attacked in 2014 by Russia. We really didn't do anything then. And that policy, the Obama policy, was widely ridiculed on the right, and I think correctly so, that you can't allow a foreign country to invade a sovereign nation. When they were attacked, when Ukraine was attacked in 2022, the United States and our Western allies together supported Ukraine's military, and Ukraine's military performed in a way that nobody expected. Russia thought they were going to be in Kyiv in 2 weeks. And yet the Ukrainian military, who we had trained, the United States Armed Forces trained the Ukrainian military command leading up to all of that. They performed well. They've killed hundreds of thousands of Russian soldiers. They've defended their territory. They've lost some in the Donbass region. And for the United States to now claim that Ukraine was the cause of this incursion, to insinuate that the leader of Ukraine, who was democratically elected, is somehow a dictator, and to, in many respects, go after our historic alliances with threats of tariffs. It's a new approach to foreign policy. Now, I could be wrong, and this may work out swimmingly. And I hope it does for the sake of our country. But I think it's a grievous mistake to treat our allies in this fashion. And, who's going to be there for us? And more fundamental even than that is that this withdrawal from world leadership that we seem to be on course to accomplish, I think is destabilizing for the planet. And the whole idea of American exceptionalism and the whole concept that the world is fundamentally a safer, more secure place if the United States of America is in charge and involved and engaged, that line of thinking seems to have gone away. And,
Is it?
And I hope things work out.
John, is it that it has gone away within the Republican Party, or are there still a lot of Republicans who want it to be that way, but they feel afraid to speak out against the current?
Well, I don't know what you mean by a lot.
Because enough to make a difference.
Maybe. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a long-term policy of the United States, this 4-year season that we're in. But at some point, when Europe says that America is not a reliable partner any longer, and we can't count on America always being there. Once you reach that conclusion, if you're France, Germany, Lithuania, once you reach that conclusion, then you're going to take actions and make decisions and create, a reality of your own that I don't think perhaps we'll ever get back to a place where the United States is the preeminent influencing power, force for good in the world. We feed a lot of people. We've healed a lot of diseases, and I hope it works out.
What is the argument against not being that?
Why are we spending so much money on all these other places?
Yeah, but it doesn't get spent here either.
It's a populist argument, though. Yeah. It's a populist argument that, on its face, sounds reasonable. That why are we spending all this money on why are we giving all this money to these other countries when we can't fix our potholes here at home? This whole idea of America first and America only, it sounds good. In practice, I don't think it works. And you can't having oceans on both sides of our country is no longer a guarantee that we're going to be left alone. Yeah, clearly.
But populism, isolationism, it's a theory. It's an ideology, right? It's been around. But the thing is, now I'm giving my opinion that Trump doesn't adhere to a theory or an ideology, which is why he can say things that sound very populist. So the populists say, he's a populist president. And then the next minute he can say, we're going to occupy Gaza, which is not isolationist. So he can flip on these theories or flip on these ideologies. And you either have to say, I disagree with what he's saying, or you have to abandon your stance, your position as a populist or an isolationist.
Yeah. And I don't know that there's a lot of people in government today who have a well-wrought worldview. And so I think, and I certainly think that's true of the public as a whole. People don't spend a lot of time pondering these things. And, we get what we get.
Let me bring this text message from a listener.
Okay.
Who says, and I think takes exception to what we're talking about now. The main problem with this speech, Ukraine means nothing. So neocon tears aren't moving the needle. No one gives a crap about Ukraine. The faster they stop getting my money, the better.
Yeah. I think a whole lot of people ascribe to that.
Why is that wrong or not?
Well, if you're going to allow an aggressive nation to go and invade sovereign countries, and because it doesn't matter when they go into Moldova, probably not under that line of thinking. Doesn't matter if they go into Poland. What do we need Poland for? At some point, yeah, right. At some point, there needs to be a situation in the world where that kind of behavior is discouraged.
Yes.
When Saddam Hussein goes into Kuwait and takes it over, you can say, well, what difference does Kuwait make? Well, there's a lot of oil there, and there's a lot of minerals and good stuff in Ukraine too. But the proposition that you can't allow rogue thugs in the world, we've seen the outcome of that.
And it's not good.
We basically that's the position that the texter, and we like you for listening. Thanks for listening. But you would have had the position that what difference does it make that Germany is invading Austria and these other countries? It doesn't matter to us. Well, eventually it did. And eventually they formed an alliance with Japan and with Italy. And eventually our ships get bombed. And this is what happens when you allow this kind of cancer to exist in the global theater. And it's why the United States has been the preeminent leader of the world, and it's why the world has been relatively stable for the last 80 years.
You can't.
That would be my answer.
So, and it's a good answer, because you can't just assume that Putin stops at Ukraine.
He's not going to stop at Ukraine.
You can't just assume that whatever dictator we're talking about stops at the first country they've invaded.
And he's not going
to. It's dangerous if you do that, and it's stupid.
Ukraine's not the first. He invaded Georgia. I mean, this is anybody that thinks this stops at the Donbass is not paying attention.
Yeah, they're bad actors. They're autocrats, dictators, power-hungry autocrats who will keep moving forward unless a good country says, yeah, you can't do that.
It's not our problem until it is.
I'm going to go home and get my phone.
And get a nap, too, would you?
Might have.
Congrats again, John.
Thanks.
We love you. John Hancock with us. Michael Kelly abandoned us. You know, Amy Marks Course, she's here. She's not leaving. I'm Chris Ranji. I ain't going nowhere. It's the Chris and Amy show on KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, covering Cardinals spring training as the Redbirds get ready for a new season. Hear my reports mornings and afternoons, as well as evenings on a Graybar Sports Open Line.
Get everything you need to know about what's happening in Redbirds Camp with the Cardinals Spring Training Reports. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Wilkie Window and Door, and Norm's Bargain Barn. On your home of the St. Louis Cardinals, KMOX.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal, regularly priced at $49.95, but for a limited time, only $39.95. Save $10 per silver bar. Limit of 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 in savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value, free. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-386-7195.
Since 1991, St. Louis has served as the gateway to the best men's basketball tournament, Arch Madness. Experience buzzer beaters, madness, and Missouri Valley Conference glory. And it begins here. The 2025 State Farm MVC Men's Basketball Tournament, presented by Credit Union 1 and Great Southern Bank, tips off March 6th through the 9th. Celebrate 35 years of Arch Madness. Get your tickets now at archmadness.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Join Mark Patrick Seminar's early bird special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right. Seminar Sunday, March 16th, Aviator Hotel and Suites, South I-55 in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. or Monday, March 17th. 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights, Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate. Paid for by Bayer.
I'm Michael Calhoun. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
So an app launched this week on the Apple App Store. It's called Protector. Have you heard about this? So
No.
Protector bills itself as allowing users. It's like a service, car service, personal security and car service. It allows users to hire on-demand personal armed security along with a ride. So you can basically get your own motorcade. They're calling it Uber with guns. Like, that's what this is. Protector is Uber with guns. If you've got a few $1,000s, you can use this app to get your Uber with guns, which, lest you think that sounds irresponsible, these are veterans and former law enforcement officials who are acting as private security personnel, and they will drive you around as armed guards, basically in an armed Uber. It's like hiring your own motorcade. It's only available right now in New York and LA.
How awesome would it be to hire that and roll up to like a child's birthday party
with a motorcade?
In a motorcade.
I want to show up here with a
That
motorcade.
would be, well, not here.
Who's that? That's the midday show.
I would say, like, roll up to a Cardinals game this year.
In a motorcade?
Yes. How about kegs and eggs?
I will
Opening
say,
day.
one time I went to Boston, it might have been 8-10 years ago, and we had multiple people. So our rental car ended up being like a giant black SUV with tinted windows. And most people you don't want to drive around Boston in a giant SUV.
Yeah.
But that's what we got. And literally every time we pulled up anywhere, people looked at us because we looked like a motorcade. Because
Awesome.
no average person would want to drive a giant SUV, black SUV with black windows around the city of Boston.
Did you see this story coming out of South Korea? The Chosun Daily is a newspaper there, and they are reporting that North Koreans who have been fighting on Russia's behalf in Ukraine, they have been told that they are actually fighting against South Korea. So a few of the captured soldiers, captured by Ukrainian forces, the North Korean soldiers who have been, taken captive, have told their captors that they believe they're actually fighting South Korean military.
So this is
That is
not
some unbelievable
That's
gaslighting.
unbelievable, and this is not like a joke. But I mean, do they think that they're fighting soldiers that are not South Korean but are fighting for South Korea,
Yes.
or do they think they're fighting South Koreans?
Yeah, they think they are fighting South Korean military.
Okay, but
There are 12,000. Kim Jong-un has sent 12,000 troops to fight alongside Russia. At least a couple of them have reported.
But do they think the Ukrainians are South Korean people?
They think they're fighting South Korean military. I don't know how. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how many times they think they are fighting
Yeah.
South Korean military.
Interesting.
Yep.
I
I don't speak Korean, so I'm going by the translation here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay. Also, I have big news for all of us.
Uh-oh.
You can grow a beard now if you're on the Yankees. That was the main reason why I didn't play for the Yankees. I know it's why you didn't play for the Yankees. But now,
The only reason.
now you can have a beard as long as it's maintained.
Well manicured or they don't
Groomed?
say groomed. They don't
Yes.
say manicured.
As long as you keep it groomed,
I love that.
you can wear
It's
a beard
about
now.
time. I
Who do you
cannot-
think is going to be the first Yankee with a beard?
I gotta think about it. Can Aaron Judge grow one? He looks too baby faced. Like he's like, I don't know if he can grow a beard. We'll
He
find
does
out.
have a very young looking face.
We'll ask Mike Claiborne about that. That's been a tradition forever. I
Yeah.
can't believe they finally got rid of it. It's such a dumb tradition. And a lot of players would not want to go to New York to play because of that rule. So that clears things up a bit. That's Amy Mark Scores. I'm Chris Ranji. Scott Jagow from the KMOX newsroom has been roaming St. Louis. He's got 3 things to talk about with us. All of that is next on KMOX.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or biglou.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN's birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. Visit NordVPN and discover the benefits. Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Encrypt your online traffic. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen 1 too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
It is 11 o'clock in mid-America. We've got 21 degrees downtown at the Arch. And this just in, the family of Janae Edmondson has reached a settlement with the city of St. Louis. The aspiring volleyball player lost both of her legs after the car driven by a man went through a yield sign at an intersection and struck her. The settlement is for $450,000. More on this through the day on KMOX. Several buses have exploded overnight near Tel Aviv in Israel. Israel's defense minister is calling the explosions an attack. CBS's Deborah Patta is in Jerusalem.
Police say the bombs were all identical and equipped with timers, but that there were no injuries. But since then, the process of getting to the bottom of this has become very murky. Unusually, nobody has claimed responsibility for the blast. Israeli media is reporting that 2 Israeli suspects have been arrested. But then a court-issued gag order prevents the publication of any more details on that investigation.
The Pentagon could be the next target of mass firings as well as spending cuts. CBS's Weijia Jiang.
2 U.S. officials say that about 50,000 people in the Department of Defense are considered probationary workers. That means they have fewer protections to being fired. That means they have fewer experience. They've probably been there for only 1 to 2 years. So 50,000 people could be impacted by these probationary civilian cuts.
The cheering section at tomorrow's St. Louis City SC home opener is hoping for a win off the field.
The St. Louligans will be cheering and waving their banners tomorrow at Energizer Park, but the future of their name remains in limbo. The group is still fighting with Maryland Heights-based Beck Flavors over the name and is opposing the company's attempt to trademark the Louligan name for alcoholic and coffee-based beverages. The Federal Trademark Trial and Appeals Board has given the group a 90-day extension until April 30th. The St. Louligans have used the name since 2010, incorporated as a nonprofit in 2019. They did trademark their Skull and Crossbones logo several years ago after other people began using it on merchandise, but according to the Business Journal, the group decided not to trademark the name in order to save money. The Louligans generate money for charitable giving. Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
The New York Yankees have changed a 49-year policy banning beards, which was imposed by owner George Steinbrenner. His son and current owner, Hal Steinbrenner, says after speaking with former and current Yankees about the facial hair and grooming policy, he's decided to allow players and uniformed personnel to sport well-groomed beards.
It's going to be a well-groomed, clean look. It is important to the leaders of our team I talk to that we maintain that disciplined look.
The KMOX Business Desk. Ford is recalling nearly 250,000 SUVs to deal with a seatbelt issue. Details from auto reporter Jeff Gilbert.
The 2021 and 22 model year Ford Explorers and Lincoln Aviators have seatbelt anchor bolts that may be improperly secured. Ford says it's not aware of any accidents or injuries. Dealers will inspect the vehicles and make any needed repairs.
The Dow from Stifel's down 371 points to 43,805. Roadwork on 44 going west at 141. That's got the left lane closed. Also roadwork 67 Lindbergh South at Elm Grove Lane. That's also got the left lane closed.
Bright sunshine, but still very cold this afternoon, high 27. Clear and very cold tonight, down to 10 in some of the colder suburbs, 17 downtown at the Arch. Sunshine tomorrow and not so cold, the high 41. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. We've got sun, 20 in St. Peter's, 21 in Florissant, 21 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers, an important decision, and should not be based solely on advertising.
Use both your KMOX presets when you're in the car. 98.7 FM near the city and 1120 AM further out. 2 buttons for KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
It's the Chris and Amy show, making your Friday way better than it was going to be. You were going to have a good Friday.
We've made it significantly better. Our boss is out of town. He's not listening. So
there's no such thing as the Odyssey app. You can't listen.
He's busy. He's on vacation. And anyway, so we had a great time with John Hancock.
Let's see. It's 11:05. Our boss is 3 Jack and Diets in. Steve Moore, we love you. Scott Jagow is with us from the KMOX newsroom. And by the way, Steve Moore is a fantastic boss.
We do
and I'm
love
not
Steve.
just saying that.
No, we actually really love Steve.
Yeah.
We love you, Scott.
Thank you.
And this is what Matt Pajeski, our producer, told me. Scott has an incredible hockey story.
Well, maybe I overemphasized that. Incredible might be it's good though.
It's not incredible.
But I do have some Canada stuff. I've got some Canada stuff, and I've got a story about a hockey game.
Okay.
A multiple hockey game weekend. So it happened in the year 2001, 2 months after 9/11, less than 2 months. Wow. So it was that time where we were all, but this trip was planned.
Yeah.
And I wanted to follow through with it. And we got to the point where I was like, okay, let's do this. We need to do something fun. It was me and my buddy, Sean. So I planned this weekend out. Everything just fell into place. Sabres hockey game in Buffalo Friday night.
Okay.
Against the Lightning. Saturday, the plan was to go to the Maple Leafs Avalanche game in Toronto. And then Sunday, Bills Colts in Buffalo. 3 games, 3 days, and it happened. And the middle one was the tough thing. How in the world am I going to get tickets to a Maple Leafs game? Because if you know anything about Maple Leafs fans, they're insane. They're like Green Bay Packers fans, where they're on waiting lists for 12 decades to get tickets.
Except they never win.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. But and there's a rivalry between Buffalo and Toronto. But anyway, I have a friend who's an airline pilot who just retired, and he has a very good friend who was at the time one of the higher ups in the Ontario government. So a week before the game, which I was hoping to go to but had no tickets, he calls me and goes, "You're not going to believe this, but I got you 2 tickets to the Maple Leafs Avalanche game." I'm like, "Yes. Wow, that's amazing." So he goes, "You just have to go pick them up at this guy's house." Fine. I said, "All right." Well, Sean and I drove across the border. We went to Toronto.
Yeah.
We went to this guy's house, which was kind of like a condominium. It was really nice. And I don't know if he was close to the prime minister. It was a very high position.
In proximity or in position?
In position.
Okay.
So somebody just comes to the door. I knocked on the door and said, "I'm Scott." And somebody just handed me the 2 tickets.
Wow.
We get to the arena and it's packed. I mean, they sell out every game. And then I'm looking at the tickets and the usher, and they're just telling me, yes, you're down here. 5th row, center ice in Toronto. The owner of the team was right in front of me.
What?
The owner of the Maple Leafs was sitting 1 row in front of me. And I couldn't believe we were literally at center ice. And it was just an amazing stroke of luck that my friend knew this guy who had 2 tickets he wasn't using. I was going to be there.
Oh.
I'll never have that chance again. It's a once in a lifetime.
Did you flick the owner's ear?
No.
You say, hey, pal.
No.
You didn't give him that.
So the Sabres won the night before 4-1. That place.
Hey, do you like
guys
hockey?
Suck. Let me finish my story. Jesus. So the Sabres won 4-1 the night before. I was excited. I actually screamed at one of the players, Rob Ray, hey, and he turned around and he looked at me like I had 3 heads. But we had great seats then. It was center ice there. And then we had this game, which was 4-1 Toronto.
Yeah.
And they have standing room only at this place.
Yeah.
And it was packed. I looked it up this morning. It was full. I looked up the attendance from this game 24 years ago. And then on Sunday, what I remember about the Bills getting smacked 30-14 by the Colts was that Peyton Manning had a 30-yard rushing touchdown.
Wow.
Peyton Manning.
Man, the slowest guy on
He
earth.
The
was
slowest
right.
dude ever.
Should have given the ball to a lineman.
It would be like I picture like
It
Peyton
took
Manning
him-
is the Yachty Molina of running in football.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
It took him like 17 seconds to go 30 yards. It was unbelievable. But I was there.
Get
I saw
him.
it.
He's still running.
I could have tackled him
Get
from the
him.
stands.
He's still running.
But what I wanted to say is there's a big appreciation between Buffalo and Toronto, also a huge hatred. First of all, because of the difference in currency at certain times,
Mhm.
sometimes it's a big discrepancy.
Yeah.
So there's these outlet malls in Buffalo, and the Canadians come over to buy cheap stuff. For
mhm.
them, it's cheap. They literally, what they do is they go to the malls in their clothes. They can only buy a certain number of clothing items to take back across the border. So they take the clothes off that they were wearing and leave them in the dressing room. And then they take
What?
Yes, this is what they did years ago. I don't know if they still do it. And they just jammed up the traffic in Niagara Falls. So we kind of
Wow.
there's a hatred against Canadians, and they're so nice. It's hard to hate Canadians,
hold
right?
on a second.
Because of the outlet malls?
Yes, because of the outlet malls. The traffic
What
is
a-
awful.
I didn't know that.
These stupid Canadians coming over here to shop.
Yes.
What do you mean? Like they can't take
Yeah,
clothes they bought?
there's certain
Because you're crossing the
Oh,
border.
Yeah, because you're
Uh,
crossing back across the border, and sometimes they'll check. And
Because-
it wasn't a big, but they wanted
You can just
bought so
layer
many-
up.
They did. They brought suitcases. I mean, to buy clothes because they were coming over to get the cheaper thing.
Right.
And you know what else they do? This is what pisses me off is they come.
You're talking about them like they are mice.
Well, I'm
Like they're
kind of
just-
I'm kind of
Dude,
aggravated.
Like
you
they're
know how
pests.
many
We
Jordache
lost last night.
jeans
You
I've
understand?
seen on the ground?
I am a little salty after losing that game, but they come over because they can't get tickets to their own game. They come to Buffalo, and so Sabres games are usually half Maple Leafs
Really?
fans. Yes,
Mm.
home games
Yeah.
because they buy the tickets up and they can't go to their own games.
That's what it's like to be a Predators fan.
Yeah.
Because half of your stadium is
Yeah.
other people
Did you
from
go-
out of town.
Do you go to the outlet mall?
Hey,
Have you been?
do you shop at the outlet mall?
Have you ever left your pants?
Maybe I got a little worked up about that. Back in the day, it was a big deal. So that's my.
I love how pissed Scott is about Canadians. I've never heard anybody so angry about Canada.
They come in. They take off
take
their
our
clothes.
clothes.
They take our
They got
clothes.
naked in
They
there.
leave their
Do they-
stupid Canadian clothes in the dressing room.
They
Then
leave all their denim and their buffalo
Yeah.
plaid.
And then they take our tickets.
Yeah. I love Scott. This is like
Worked
opened
up
my
Scott
eyes.
is my
Yeah,
favorite.
this has opened my eyes
Yeah.
to that relationship. So do you think the fans in Buffalo and Toronto, did they watch last night's game with a different point of view than the rest of America like us? We're like, oh, Canada booed us, and Canadians like, oh, the tariffs. With Buffalo and Toronto, you think it was much more personal, or do you think they actually like each other a little bit more because we're in this together.
Well, Buffalo hasn't made the playoffs in 14 years, so there's not a lot of rivalry there right now.
Mhm.
And Toronto hasn't won a Stanley Cup since what,
Or just
1967?
the cities, the cities themselves. There's an affinity between the two cities, even though there's a hatred.
Yeah, there's sort of an affinity, but it's also a big rivalry. So, Sabres fans hate Maple Leafs fans, and I think Maple Leafs fans don't hate Sabres fans as much because they get to go to games because they buy our tickets.
Yeah.
But do you acknowledge that their national anthem is superior?
I do.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
I know.
It is.
It's
I know.
Better.
It's
It just it is.
It's-
It
I mean,
is.
if you look at I did a whole thing about the origin of our national anthem. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm talking about not the War of 1812 and all that stuff. I'm talking about the tune. It goes
the
back
English
to,
drinking,
the drinking
pub
song.
Yeah.
I mean, the Canadian national anthem is just it's nicer to listen to.
It is, and it's easier to sing.
It's easier to sing. And I will say, do you remember the guy that would sing the national anthem and the Canadian anthem at the Blues games with an acoustic guitar? He would kind of like pick the acoustic guitar and sing both songs. The Canadian national anthem is just a pretty song.
Yeah.
Like
It
it's
is.
pretty and it sounds great with an acoustic guitar. And like I said, I love the Star Spangled Banner because it's us. It's big, bold, brash. It's American, but
Mhm.
it's very hard to sing.
It is. Here's what I'm going to say. It is okay to be an American and acknowledge that song is superior to ours, and still admit that I love the country. I'm glad that I'm an American.
This
But that
guy-
song's infinitely better. In the same way that I could be a Bears fan and recognize that Aaron Rodgers was just awesome. He was awesome. He was objectively awesome. The guy,
Especially
I hate
against
him.
you.
I hate him. When he did the thing, like his last game at Soldier Field, where
You
he
mean
ran
like-
it in for a touchdown and he yelled at the crowd, "I still own
I
you."
own you.
Look, I was watching that game beside myself, and I tweeted, "Hey, he's got a point. He does own us. That was awesome," and everybody jumped down my throat. But I was right.
Yeah.
He was right. You have to acknowledge it when it's great.
And Scott, to your point about like diehard Buffalo fans, a friend of mine, when he was born, his grandpa gave him his spot on the waiting list for season tickets in Green Bay as a Green Bay Packers fan. And when
Wow.
my friend, I think he turned like 42, 44, 45, somewhere around there, he got him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like his grandpa, when he was born, put him on the waiting
that's
list.
how long it takes.
Yep.
But
That's
also,
the same thing with Maple Leafs fans. They have to do that. You have to be on a waiting list.
let's be honest. Also, the Packers fans are losers.
I'm a Packers fan.
Loser. You're a I thought you were a Chiefs fan.
and a Chiefs fan.
What a
and a
God.
Rams fan.
You know what? I want to hear it from you.
Yeah. No, going to a game though. I'm sure you've been to a game in Green Bay, right?
No, I was supposed
What?
to, and it got canceled.
Oh.
But yeah,
He's
years
barely
ago.
been to a Battle
They,
Hawks game. You think
it's
he's
so
been?
I've been to multiple Battle Hawks games. I got my pants dirty every time I go.
He does. His pants.
How
got
do you get
so-
your pants?
So
dirty?
the second to last Battle Hawks game I went to, they had a motocross, something like I don't know, one of those dirt
yeah, I know
track
what they are.
crap things that they do, and there was dirt all over the seats still.
Oh,
He took a
Like-
picture of his pants and tweeted it.
It wasn't like a little dirt. It was
A lot.
It looked like I fell in dirt. It was unbelievable.
He tweeted it. He's like, "Look at my pants."
I fell in ice last night. I fell
Oh,
on my
no.
stairs last night.
Like
It was terrible.
Back,
It hurt.
Front stairs.
You gonna be all
Yeah,
right?
like outside.
Oh.
No, I'm going to the doctor in like
Oh, that's right.
20 minutes.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Upper body or lower body?
Upper or shoulder. Just
Ooh,
So you have an upper body injury?
upper body injury.
I do. I'm going
sorry,
to the
that's
sports
awful.
medicine doctor. Because I'm such a
I hate falling.
Well, so
main athlete.
I know you got this doctor's appointment. Is there anything you want to tell us about 3 Good Things?
I'm gonna try to do one this week. Chat with Stu Mac. We did Google search terms or not Google things people Google.
Yeah.
And then that led to song lyrics. So we have some songs that we've messed up the lyrics.
Yeah.
And so we talk about it. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
Well, Scott, enjoy it. We will.
I think you should
Sunday
get all
morning.
3 of your good things from the doctor's appointment today somehow.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll do my best.
Yeah.
3 Good Things. Roaming St. Well, hopefully 3 Good Things.
Yeah.
Roaming St. Louis. Chat with Stu Mac all Sunday morning.
Yep. Actually, last week's 3 Good Things. You should check it out. It's the story of my guitar. From the factory all the way to my living room. It's a really cool story. It's one of my favorite 3
Awesome.
Good Things. It's online.
What time again?
6:30 to 9:30 Sunday mornings.
Scott Jagow here on KMOX.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
I'm Sia, and I support Humane World for Animals, formerly called the Humane Society of the United States. Together, we have created a new version of Peter Gabriel's beautiful song, Salisbury Hill, to celebrate Humane World for Animals and everything they do. Enjoy the song and join us in helping Humane World for Animals end animal cruelty.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, covering Cardinal spring training as the Redbirds get ready for a new season. Hear my reports mornings and afternoons, as well as evenings on a Graybar Sports Open Line.
Get everything you need to know about what's happening at Redbirds Camp with the Cardinal Spring Training Reports. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Wilkie Window and Door, and Norm's Bargain Barn. On your home of the St. Louis Cardinals, KMOX. St. Louis's traffic and weather station. News Radio 1120, KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you. Well, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the Missouri House has passed a bill to shift control of the St. Louis City Police back to a state board. And Ranj, along
now it goes to the Senate,
now
which
it goes to
the
the Senate.
state Senate has to consider it.
Yep. So it does look like this thing is going to move through. And we are going to be chatting next week. What day next week, Matt Pajeski? With the mayor of Kansas City,
Tuesday.
Quentin Lucas.
Tuesday.
We'll be chatting with Mayor Quentin Lucas of Kansas City because, as probably most of you know, the state does have control of the Kansas City Police Department. Now, things have not been great crime-wise with Kansas City, even though the state controls that police force. So it'll be interesting to see how that continues to work in Kansas City, what kind of support it does or does not have. And my question was, well, if it's not working great in Kansas City, because they did have their highest number of homicides last year, why will it be different here? And I understand it's a different police force, different city leadership. John Hancock had said one of the arguments for it was that the board, the state board, it would be in support of the police. The police would feel supported by those who are in authoritative positions of authority. But yeah, it will be interesting to talk to the mayor. We'll also talk to the mayor about the city administrator position because Kansas City has one. We spoke with Alderwoman Daniela Velasquez about a city administrator. She had proposed a bill that would establish a city administrator so that Mayor Jones would be the face of the vision of the city, but the day-to-day operations like picking up trash and filling potholes and just making sure things are getting done would be done by that administrator, who, by the way, is not a politician, generally brought in from outside the area and has experience running organizations, but is not a politician. So we'll also talk with Mayor Quentin Lucas about that as well.
It would be nice to have a non-political position there, just somebody who can do the day-to-day stuff that the mayor doesn't have to think about it and can be freed up to do maybe bigger picture items and worry about those. But one of St. Louis's major issues, as we have talked about a lot, is the simple stuff seems to not get done. Trash pickup. And well, that was a problem during the snowstorm and in the immediate weeks after, which it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been weeks. It should have been handled pretty rapidly, and it wasn't. The potholes and that sort of thing. Just making the city run well. That's it, right? And then the bigger picture stuff also needs to be tackled, but you have to do the smaller everyday things first. So I am absolutely on board with the idea of an administrator. If you can split those duties, then maybe the city does run more efficiently. As far as the state takeover, I'm exactly in the same spot. Bottom line for me is I do not care. Even though the city voted for this, the city years ago voted to retake control. This is what the people here wanted. So in that regard, I think that they should probably maintain control because that's what the voters voted for. So that's that out of the way. However, in terms of what happens here in St. Louis, the only thing I really care about is getting results. The only thing I care about is actual safety. So I don't care if it's the state or if it's the city. If you forget about the vote, forget about everything else that's happened, forget about history. All I care about is whether or not the police department runs efficiently and does the job, right? That's all I care about. My problem with this particular moment is, yes, voters voted for this years ago, and they don't have a say in this right now, which is a problem. And secondly, it does appear that things are already moving in the right direction. I don't like the idea of interfering with that in any way. We have a police chief who's been here for a couple of years now. He seems to know what he is doing. Let him continue to work.
Yeah, and I think, what does this look like? Because again, my understanding, what John Hancock had said, a big part of it is that the police force, which has been, demoralized in a lot of ways, not only because they're so short-staffed, but feel that they don't have the support of certain prominent city leaders like a Megan Green, right, who was pro defund the police, right, and so
but she's not in the majority, and everybody else's voices are louder than hers.
And I feel like I want to know, how would this change the momentum, if at all? How does this change the voice, the control that Chief Robert Tracy has, right? Because he's still the police chief. Right. Mayor Jones is still the mayor. You still have the police officers. Is it that the state feels like it will take over and be more aggressive in trying to hire, or just let police officers know that they have support because it is the police officers union is in favor of this, correct?
That right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of the rank and file are.
Yes.
But
so I don't know how much it changes, but you're right. I mean, if you are seeing momentum in the right direction, that's a good thing. I really like Governor Kehoe. I think, he gets the city. He's not anti-city. This isn't vindictive because he's
I think
from
there's
the
probably a
city of
little
St. Louis.
politics behind it. I think if this city were run by Republicans, I don't know that he would get involved, especially because we have evidence within the state of this not really working.
Yeah, I don't know.
In another major city that's a similar city to ours.
Governor Kehoe loves the city, gets it, grew up in the city. So I would need to see exactly what this will look like.
Well,
we can see
it's-
what it looks like in I mean, we can see how it's run in Kansas City. Not that it would
And
be the same.
I don't have any reason to think it's going to be better here than it is there. If you've got evidence otherwise, not you, Amy, but if they have evidence otherwise, I'd love to see it. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji. When we come back, we're going to check in. Cardinals spring training is happening, and there is actual spring training baseball tomorrow. The Cardinals will play another team not named the Cardinals. Mike Claiborne is next.
Seeing the world around you is so important. So take care of your eyes. And why would you trust them to just anyone? The best doctors to see for your best vision are the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Berry. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, things like dry eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma. They do LASIK surgery at Ophthalmology Associates. And yes, they can check your eyes to see if your prescription is still the right one for you, for your glasses and contacts. This will be the most thorough eye exam that you have ever had in your life, because really your eyes are a window into the health of the rest of you. So please take care of your vision and see the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000, or make your appointment today at youridoc.com. Ophthalmology Associates.
When we started Neoviten back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neoviten Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neoviten Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Deerbergs, and online at neoviten.com.
Want to retire in 5 years or less? You can do it, just like Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa.
So we started passively. It was on vacation is when we realized we really need to take the plunge and be more active. I was doing. So it was just education on my part is really big. And I'm like, well, I could do that.
Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
At 11:30, we've got sun, 21 degrees downtown at the Arch. Sales of previously occupied homes fell in January as rising mortgage rates and prices put off many would-be home buyers despite a wider selection of properties on the market. Existing home sales fell 4.9% last month from December. Sales rose 2% compared with January last year, marking the fourth straight annual increase. Taking a look at the traffic map, a disabled vehicle 44 west at Park Avenue. That's got the right lane closed. Emergency vehicles 44 eastbound at Lewis Road, just before Lewis Road. They're on the right shoulder there. Stalled vehicle 6440 going westbound at Long Road, and that's got the right shoulder closed there. And the forecast this afternoon, bright sunshine, still very cold, high 27 degrees. For tonight, quite cold, lows ranging from 10 in the coldest suburbs to 17 degrees downtown at the Arch. For tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, not so cold with a high of 41. Right now, we've got 22 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Begin Grapefruit League play tomorrow against the Marlins, and Eric Fetty will make the start, throwing one inning. After coming over from the White Sox last year at the deadline, Fetty had an ERA close to 5 in his first 4 starts with the club, but he locked in with a 2.91 ERA over his final 6 starts of the season. Manager Oliver Marmol believes we'll see a better Fetty this year.
He'll also tell you he still didn't feel like himself with being able to deliver to the degree that he's capable of, and I think that comes with just being on a new club and trying to prove that you belong, that type of thing, right? But the more comfortable he gets, I think we'll see a good version of him, and we're already seeing that just in his personality and just his level of settling in.
Matthew Liberatore is scheduled to throw 1 inning after Fetty is done tomorrow. First pitch is scheduled for 12:10. You can hear the game right here on KMOX. This spring training report is brought to you by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories, and by Norm's Bargain Barn and Wilkie Window and Door. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Of course, have to throw in it's partly cloudy and 71 degrees in Jupiter, Florida at Cards Camp. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Are you looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance of a home? Check out the Towns of Linneman. New townhomes by Lombardo Homes, located in St. Peters. These luxury new construction townhomes are located on the south side of Route 364-94, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. The multi-million-dollar amenity package includes a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, children's play area, and walking trails. Visit LombardoHomes.com for more information.
Now, Holding Court with Claves, with Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Bouncing punt, Matthews again kicked out. The fall stopped by Bennington. It's 2019 all over again. The U.S. has had all of the great chances. Off the draw, Matthews again, snatched by Bennington.
Highlight courtesy of ESPN TV. And last night, Canada beats the United States in the Four Nations Cup. It is the mid-season tournament that happens. It was an exciting game. Canada goes on to win in overtime. Jordan Binnington, a huge part of that win and that short run by Canada. We are joined now on the guest line by our guy, part of the Cardinals broadcast team here on KMOX. Spring training baseball is happening tomorrow afternoon starting at 12, and we're going to get to that baseball in a moment. But Mike Claiborne is with us now on KMOX. Claibs, what's up?
It's all good. Here we are in Jupiter about to get this thing started. So looking forward to it, although it all of a sudden became just a little breezy here in South Florida.
Oh, that's nice. Good for you.
Just a little breezy, but you know what? We'll manage. The sun is out. We're going to have a nice crowd tomorrow as the Cardinals open up against the Miami Marlins, and it should be a lot of fun.
We have hockey weather here in St. Louis, so how about Jordan Binnington and the way he played? Man.
Wow. That was incredible to see him last night. And, you know, I know there were some people, when they look at his numbers, they kind of raise an eyebrow to it. But I think Ray Ferraro said it best. He may give up a softie, but after that, he's going to own the night. And we saw that firsthand against a really good United States team. And, you know, if it wasn't for him, there would be no overtime. And I couldn't be happier for him. I thought he and Colton Parayko really represent the Blues well in this tournament. And I'll be anxious to see the ovation he gets. I don't know if he'll play tomorrow night, but I'm sure on Sunday he may be on the ice, and he deserves an incredible ovation from the St. Louis fans.
Yeah, Cleves, it was, I was talking earlier about the enormous amount of pressure that is on those Canadian hockey players in those games from the media, from the fans in Canada. We may think we're passionate here, but it is so different. It is so different in Canada, just the weight and the significance that is placed on these players. And with Jordan Binnington, not just a few people were saying that last night was basically, that could be his tryout for the Olympics. Is he going to start between the pipes for Team Canada? Can he be the goaltender in those big moments? And boy, oh boy, like you said, he may let up a soft goal now and then, but did he come up huge when he needed to?
And you know, it also kind of sets you what your legacy is all about. And I'll go back to 1981 when the Blues had Mike Liut. Mike Liut was as good of a goalie as there was in the world, and they played in a tournament similar to this. And he got rung up for 8 that night for the championship game, and he was never the same. He was never the same. His reputation was never the same. So And the way we magnify accomplishments these days, it's something that will stay with him for the rest of his life. I couldn't be happier for the outcome. And it also sent a message that I think while the United States wanted to kind of come in and I won't say goon it up, but play the body and try to intimidate the Canadians in the first game, they had the Canadians on their heels. And the Canadians last night stuck to their basics. And their best players in Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby did not have what I'd call stellar nights. But they found a way, and McDavid's in the slot. I mean, it's pretty hard not to score from where he was at. It was a perfect shot. But you have to tip your cap to the Canadians and how they stayed with their system and just believed in each other. They have some incredible skaters on that team, and that's the other thing that really stood out. But it was a coming out party for a lot of young players that we're going to see on the international front well before next year, and certainly next year with the Olympics. It was a pretty fun event, and I was talking about this, Claibs, that I don't know, the World Baseball Classic is not I should care more about it. I don't. I get more interested in my team's players getting ready for the regular season because Cardinals regular season to me is the only thing that matters. So it feels like World Baseball Classic kind of gets in the way of that. But that last one was exciting, and the same sort of thing in this midseason tournament in the NHL, that was exciting. So when you go into those like preseason tournaments or midseason tournaments, how much do they matter to you? I think after watching this, everybody might want to step back and think about having a midseason event. Now, the problem that you run across is you run the risk of injury. And there are a couple of players. Obviously, Matthew Tkachuk is hurt. They had a couple of other players that were hurt. Charlie McAvoy has a shoulder issue. And, so you run that risk. At the beginning of the year, guys are trying to play themselves into shape. You're trying to monitor their time playing. And at the end of the season, you have guys that are just worn out, don't want to play. And so I'm not sure when the right time is. But as we have seen this barrage of people who are anti-East versus West or the old school exhibition of all-stars, you want to kind of spice it up in some way, shape, or form. And maybe hockey has hit the jackpot with this. But, man, some teams pay the price for it.
Yeah, and I'll just say this as we move to baseball, Claibs, that tomorrow night's Blues game is the first over-the-air hockey game in 16 years. You really couldn't have picked a better time to maybe see if any new eyeballs will turn it on.
No, that's a great point. And, the other thing is this is kind of like a lull part of the sports year. You don't have major events. This event, the tournament is now over. So now you just kind of focus to college basketball. And the way college basketball is so spread out with so many games and so many teams and so many players you don't know because of the portal and the NIL, it's kind of hard to pick up where you want to leave off. So now you have hockey that has like about a 2-week window to really seize what the spring is going to look like. And if you look at their schedule, I mean, I think they have 14 games tomorrow, and I think 9 more the next day or something along that line. So they're going to give you a whole lot of hockey, and you hope that the networks can embrace it and make sure they can get eyeballs in front of it as much as they can. And that's going to always be the challenge with hockey. It's truly a provincial sport. And so for some people who are not used to it, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge for them to find it. My only unfortunate element about this, although it got a lot of eyeballs on the game, did you see the fights? Hey, it had 3 fights in 9 seconds. And, that seemed like that was the only thing people could talk about when it was a pretty good hockey game. And so if that's what it takes to get them in the door, and then they sit down and they realize last night there wasn't a fight, and it was a really good hockey game there as well. So, you do what you have to do to get them in the door, and then you hope that your skill set will give them more credence to come back.
Yep, Blues will be on KMOV, so that's Channel 4 for the old heads. That'll be tomorrow.
So who was the last over-the-air game? Was it Channel 11?
It had to have been KPLR. It had to have been, right?
I would think so, because I don't think 30 picked up any games. I would think
it was the
last one was
it was the
Channel 11.
08-09 season. It was Channel 11.
I think I was doing pre and post game for Channel 11 at that time, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe Tony Twist was my co-host.
You know what? That sounds super familiar, Claves, because, well, now this is going back even further, but like way back in the late 90s when it was Ken Wilson and Joe Micheletti, and that was on Channel 11.
Oh, baby.
We didn't have cable, so that I watched. I mean,
I love Ken Wilson
I would look
so
at
much.
the newspaper printout. They would print out all the games that were going to be on Channel 11 that year, and I would mark them down.
Ken Wilson, one of the greatest hockey announcers no one ever talks about.
Oh, I
Period.
love him.
Well, he was great at that. I thought he was as good at, he called Mike Tyson's first fight, called Pete Rose's record-breaking hit, and called a number of other things in his career, and he was one of the great voices of the St. Louis Blues for a number of years as well. So you guys want to talk a little baseball?
Let's do it tomorrow. Cardinals, Marlins, tomorrow?
Yep. Eric
Noon?
He's going to get the ball.
Noon o'clock
John
tomorrow?
Rooney, Ricky Horton, they're all ready to go. We worked out already today. Went through some practice today. Did our voiceovers. We are rip roaring and ready to go for tomorrow.
I mean, Claves, it's that first spring game. It's that one hits, man. It really does. It's interesting because you get to the final couple of spring games and you're like, all right, let's get the regular season going.
Let's get it over with. Yeah,
let's go. But this first one, that is the best.
It really is. Everybody's happy to see everyone. They made some changes to the ballpark. They brought the fences in and the power alleys. The bullpens are now behind the wall in the outfields. And a few other things, they spruced up the place. And, more importantly, we're going to see the early edition of 2025 St. Louis Cardinals, which I think will be more interesting and entertaining than some will think. The absent element here, and we'll take Nolan Arenado out of the equation, this team does not have a face of national recognition. You go back to the years of McGuire, and then there's Albert and Waino and Yachty and Arenado and Goldschmidt. We've always had a player that everybody in the league recognizes. We don't have that yet, but there are certainly some candidates that can take that title this year, along with Nolan Arenado. Wilson Contreras is a guy I think we better start paying attention to when he steps in the batter's box. So it's going to be fun. It's different. It's different for everyone. And I just say, just inhale it slowly and just see where it goes. I mean, it's a division that you can not only contend in, you can win it. If you pitch like you did last year and you hit a little better, guess what? You're in contention to win this division, because I think it's going to be a challenging one. The Cubs are going to be better. I think Cincinnati's going to be better. Pittsburgh will be better. But who's good enough to win the division? And I think if the Cardinals do what they need to do, they can win the division.
All right, it gets started, not the regular season, but the march to the regular season will begin tomorrow. 12 o'clock is the broadcast time. The first pitch is at 12:10. Cardinals and Marlins right here on KMOX and the Odyssey app. Last thing, Claves, it's amazing how this is big news, but it is big baseball news that the Yankees have announced they will no longer make their players shave. They've been doing it for decades, and now you can have a well-groomed beard. What do you think?
I think it's a good move. Me being a beard wearer, I think well-groomed is the key. You don't want a guy looking like a raggedy Kris Kringle or anything. You want him to kind of at least look like he cares.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if you're going to have a lot of guys looking like Billy Gibbons on the Yankees.
No.
Okay.
Or George.
Yeah. One more shameless plug here.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, go ahead.
All those who don't get enough of me.
Oh, I know.
Sunday morning,
Can I guess?
Go for it.
You're on WFUN.
WFUN 96.3, 7 o'clock Sunday morning. We call it In the Best Interest Of with Mike Claiborne. And we'll get into sports from time to time, but tomorrow, Sunday, we will have the new president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of St. Louis, Brandon Williams, great football player in his own right, and the CEO and executive CEO and also president of the Urban League of Greater St. Louis, Michael McMillan. They'll join me, and we'll cover a lot of bases for about an hour, starting at 7 o'clock on Sunday morning, 96.3 FM.
Our sister station here in the Odyssey building. Claves, we love you. We'll be listening tomorrow.
Have a great weekend and stay warm.
Cardinals baseball tomorrow here on KMOX, starting at 12 o'clock with the broadcast. They will play their first Grapefruit League game against the Miami Marlins. You can listen to it on 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, and the Odyssey app. All Cardinals baseball this year is free with the Odyssey app. You can have it right there on your telephone or your smartphone. It's Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, because we care about you. Next, we bring you the Egg Beat.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Creve Court camera may be gone, but we opened another store called the Photo Pros. Same great service, same great people, and today's photography equipment. Lots of new cameras, used equipment, flashes, studio lights, tripods, filter, films, gadgets, and more. We are the Photo Pros out in the Westport area. Every day someone gets a new camera off the internet and comes to see us. It's not the same. You get ripped off. Google Creve Court camera or the Photo Pros to find us.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Discover true luxury at Missouri's first and only standalone Genesis dealership, Genesis of St. Charles. Thank you for making us the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2024. True luxury isn't just built, it's engineered with precision and passion. Explore amazing cutting-edge technology, redefined elegance, and exhilarating performance in the new 25 GV80. A new level of luxury awaits you at Genesis of St. Charles. Visit us in-store or shop genesisofstcharles.com. Based on GMA sales records.
I'm Frank Ladd. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Well, this is a trying time for all of us in the United States. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji, your hosts today and every weekday on KMOX from 10 until 1 o'clock. And we have been following all of the egg stuff. There's been plenty of egg news, egg prices, egg shortages,
an egg Wall
hoarding.
Street. Egg Wall Street. The egg exchange that I did not know this, that determines the price, the buyers and sellers for major egg people. And so anyway, I do want to get a guest from the Wall Street Journal on the egg exchange because that's insane. It's the Wall Street for eggs. It's in New Hampshire.
We have been following along for you because we care about you, and we thought we would just really beat this egg thing to a pulp. And so we decided that we would bring you the egg beat. Amy, an update on egg prices.
Oh, no.
They have nearly doubled in the last 6 weeks now. The average cost of a dozen eggs, you want to know what it was as of yesterday?
As of yesterday, it was $3.94.
This says $8.
What?
$8 for a dozen eggs, according to the United States Department of Agriculture.
Wait, okay, I know where the
$8.03 per dozen.
Who was the fine lady who left a message that she bought eggs for $3.94 at Aldi?
I think that was Linda, maybe.
Linda.
Okay, well, Linda was right. That's on the low end, and that's from Aldi. Aldi's typically a less expensive store.
Oh, look at all these eggs.
I know. Never tell you. really good story. My friend used to work at Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
And they got an order.
Yeah.
Like a delivery order. And the delivery ticket said, whatever the sandwiches were, and then it said all those shoes. It said all those shoes.
Yeah.
And he goes, all those shoes. Like he's looking at the ticket because somebody he's like, what is all those shoes? And his employee goes, I don't know. She said all those shoes. Aldo shoes. ALDO. She thought they were saying all those shoes.
Wait, what is that? What do Aldo shoes have to do with Jimmy John's?
That's where the delivery was going.
2 Aldo shoes. Oh,
how good is
all
that?
the good stories happening at Jimmy John's. I had a friend who was fired from Jimmy John's for not wearing socks, apparently.
Yeah, you gotta wear socks in a restaurant.
And I was like, that's insane. And he was like, yeah, I know. They fired me because I didn't wear socks. He's like, I was also really high. So
You do have to.
I feel like it was more that.
It is a health department violation to not wear socks.
Yeah, but
in the kitchen.
I think maybe they use the socks as an excuse.
So the average price of eggs, and Jimmy John's has no eggs as far as I know. The average price has jumped by $3.42 since the middle of January.
Wow.
That's back when the dozen eggs were costing $4.61. And this is, of course, due to the bird flu. There have been, 69 confirmed cases of bird flu in the United States up to this point.
Earlier this week, the Trump administration did announce that it was planning a new strategy for fighting bird flu because generally you just kill off millions and millions and millions of chickens. So they're trying an approach that would include chicken vaccinations as well as tighter biosecurity for the chickens. I do know that there was a mistake that in the Doge cuts, they fired a bunch of people that were working on fighting the bird flu. And so they are now currently rehiring the people that they fired who are working on the bird flu, but they are trying to nip it in the bud, as they say, which I will say I'm on board if you can prevent killing all those chickens.
Well, yes. I don't think we want to have to kill the chickens if we don't need to.
It's insane. Like, I do have a question because we have had to kill millions and millions and millions of chickens.
Yeah.
How
do they do it?
No. What
I've
do you
seen
do
it.
with the bodies? The little chicken bodies.
I don't know what you do with the bodies.
That's a lot of chicken carcasses that you have to, dispose of.
I don't know what
You
they
shoot
do
them
with
into
it.
space?
I know how they do it. You don't shoot them into space. That would really raise egg prices. Because
These prices are out of this world.
Do you know space has the worst tariffs?
Oh man, there's nothing worse than space carrots.
Oh man, you do not want to deal with this.
What do they do with the bodies? I mean, do they?
I don't know, but I know how they do. There's like this chemical foam or something, and they just so all the chickens are in one big area, and this foam comes in like a tide, and it covers all the chickens and it kills them.
Oh my gosh!
It's like a toxic foam. No, I've seen it.
That's horrible.
I've seen video of it. If you've murdered a chicken or multiple chickens, if you have mass extinction
careful.
of a
This is sounding really
if you have
dark.
mass murdered chickens, let us know how you do it.
What do they do with all the chicken carcasses?
And then what do you do with the chicken bodies?
That's the chicken
314-436-7900.
Why would you ask that? That's what I
Well,
just
don't
asked.
call us. Just text in.
No, a carcass. And you said, and the bodies.
Well, they're bodies.
That's the carcass.
It's a chicken body. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk to Caitlin Owens, Axios senior policy reporter, because some of the Medicaid cuts that have been proposed here could really hit hospitals in a very big way. So how's this going to happen? Caitlin Owens will talk it over with us, Amy Marks-Kors, and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Seeing the world around you is so important. So take care of your eyes. And why would you trust them to just anyone? The best doctors to see for your best vision are the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Berry. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Things like dry eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma. They do LASIK surgery at Ophthalmology Associates. And yes, they can check your eyes to see if your prescription is still the right one for you, for your glasses and contacts. This will be the most thorough eye exam that you have ever had in your life, because really your eyes are a window into the health of the rest of you. So please, take care of your vision and see the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000, or make your appointment today at youridoc.com. Ophthalmology Associates.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN's birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. Visit NordVPN and discover the benefits. Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Encrypt your online traffic. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick Seminar's early bird special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right. Seminar Sunday, March 16th, Aviator Hotel and Suites, South I-55 in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. or Monday, March 17th. 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights, Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Use both your KMOX presets when you're in the car. 98.7 FM near the city and 1120 AM further out. 2 buttons for KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
It is 12 noon in mid-America. We've got a sunny sky, 25 degrees downtown at the Arch. This news update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Our top story this hour, the city of St. Louis settles with the family of Janae Edmondson for $450,000. Edmondson was 17 when she was struck by a reckless driver and lost both of her legs in downtown St. Louis. Her attorney, Kevin Carney, says they argued the city was negligent.
The one claim that we were able to bring and that we advanced against the city was the failure to have a stop sign at that intersection at 11th and St. Charles.
He says Edmondson's medical costs will run for the rest of her life and now total in the millions of dollars. The newly announced plans to redevelop the Millennium Hotel grounds adds to yet another multi-million-dollar project on a downtown building. How will they all fit together?
My goal, my vision is to see all of these projects redeveloped. I have
Neil Richardson, the CEO of the St. Louis Development Corporation, says it is important to see downtown redeveloped in order for it to thrive. He adds it is key these projects fuel each other rather than feed off each other.
That they're not absorbing each other, but it's actually helping support the overall development of downtown. And that will require all of our developers, our public and private sectors working together.
Other major projects include the city's push to acquire the Railway Exchange through eminent domain, the private sale of the AT&T building, and the nearly finished redevelopment of the Jefferson Arms building. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Israel claims a ceasefire violation by Hamas.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is vowing revenge after Hamas released the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages. As part of the ceasefire agreement, Hamas turned over what was supposed to have been the bodies of Sherry Bibas and her 2 young sons, as well as 83-year-old Oded Lifshitz.
Today is a tragic day.
Netanyahu says it's a cruel and malicious violation.
These Hamas monsters also cynically refused to bring back the boy's mother, Shiri, and sent the body of a Gazan woman instead, in brazen violation of the agreement.
Hamas says it would conduct a thorough review of the information regarding the body.
I vow that I will not rest until the savages who executed our hostages are brought to justice. They do not deserve to walk this earth. Nothing will stop me.
Hamas says it will go ahead with the release of 6 Israeli hostages Saturday. I'm Ed Donahue.
The KMOX Business Desk, United Health under investigation.
The U.S. Justice Department is investigating United Health Group's Medicare billing practices, which has caused the company's stock to fall sharply. Sources tell the Wall Street Journal the department's civil probe is looking at how the company records diagnoses that lead to higher payments from the government's Medicare Advantage program. United Health has pushed back against the report, calling any suggestion of fraudulent practices outrageous and false. Kimberly Adams, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Steeples down 578 points to 43,598. And we've got a crash right now. It's got the two right lanes blocked on 55 going northbound at Lindbergh. Again, two right lanes are blocked, 55 north at Lindbergh. Stalled vehicle 44 east at 55. That's on the right shoulder. Also 70 west at Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. Right lane is blocked there. And also a stall, 44 west at 141.
Sunny but cold this afternoon with a high of 27. Clear, very cold tonight, down to 10 in some of the colder suburbs, 17 downtown at the Arch. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow, but not so cold in the afternoon, high 41. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today, offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Right now it's 24 in St. Peters, 25 in Florissant, 25 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on KMOX. A lot of uncertainty right now as there are all kinds of cuts happening in the federal government, and it's going through all different areas. And of notable concern is what might happen to programs like Medicaid, Medicare, and that sort of thing. To talk about it with us, Axios senior policy reporter Caitlin Owens is joining us on KMOX this afternoon. Caitlin, thank you for being with us today. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat.
I'm telling you, I think if you've talked, and I know you have, but if you talk to anybody who is relying on Medicaid for anything at this point of their lives, there's a lot of nervousness as to what is going to happen next. So from your reporting, what could come of Republicans looking for ways to cut Medicaid potentially?
Well, so let's just start by framing the big picture situation here, which is that Republicans on Capitol Hill are working on legislation to ultimately extend the tax cuts put in place in Trump's first term. That is also taking place against this consternation within some parts of the party about the federal budget and budget deficits. So part of the solution here is, extending the tax cuts costs about $4.5 trillion. Adding more tax cuts costs more than that. And so they're trying to find places where they can then cut spending to offset some of that, to the tune of, who knows how much, but in the budget resolution, it's $1.5 trillion, but all of this is extremely fluid. So what they're doing is looking for big pots of money, right? And so Medicaid is a big pot of money. And that's ultimately where the risk is that Congress decides that they do need to do drastic spending cuts. They look for the least politically damaging place to do it, and they decide that that is Medicaid. So far, they're working very big picture. What happened is they assigned, this is extremely complicated Capitol Hill stuff, but they assigned the committee that covers Medicaid to find $880 billion in savings. So that's where a lot of the fear, and that's in the House, that's where a lot of the fear comes from, is that, they're going to look for $880 billion worth of Medicaid cuts. That's all we know so far. The specifics, there's different ideas being batted around, but we don't know exactly what they're going to end up doing, if anything, on Medicaid.
Can you kind of explain this new phenomenon when the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare started to first allow states to begin directing managed care organizations, and how the Medicaid payments have ballooned since 2016, and exactly what was that phenomenon and how has that affected the budget?
So basically, the federal government allowed states to direct extra payments to providers through managed care plans. So basically, like the state could say, we want our providers that take Medicaid to get a pay bump. Historically, Medicaid has paid providers less than Medicare. Now, with these state-directed payments, providers are getting Medicare rates at times, if not more. Sometimes they're up to commercial rates almost, which are even higher than Medicare. And that's financed through provider taxes, which all of this is incredibly complicated. But basically, the end result is that the federal government pays for these extra payments because Medicaid is a state and federally financed program. So there's been a lot of scrutiny recently on these state-directed payments, being like, hey, wait a minute, why is Medicaid paying providers this much, especially when it's up to commercial rates, when the federal government is just picking up the tab for that? The pushback would be, we want providers to take Medicaid patients and for this to be sustainable, and this increases access for those patients by increasing the payments.
Is looking at that system and making sure it's efficient, is that the reform or effort that had bipartisan support?
Not exactly.
Okay.
So the way that these payments are in a roundabout way, yes, but technically no. It's provider taxes. So they're financed through something called provider taxes, which the argument with that is that states tax providers, but then pay them more to offset that tax, and then the federal government ends up contributing more on the Medicaid share. So yes, this is really complicated math, but the bottom line is there has been bipartisan support in the past for cracking down on provider taxes.
Okay. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes
it's incredibly confusing.
It's almost like it's confusing on purpose.
I mean, Medicaid, that's kind of the thing, is Medicaid is a really complicated program because it's a state and federal partnership. There are 50 different Medicaid programs because there are 50 different states, right? And just the financing of this is just super complicated. Which is part of why, getting back to the big picture here, is federal spending cuts to Medicaid could come in a bunch of different forms. And those, there's a bunch of different ways to get to, if you need $880 billion, there's a bunch of ways to get to $880 billion. The one thing that I will say, that hopefully this is a little more straightforward, there's a lot more agreement on work requirements for the program among Republicans. That would save some money, but if there's anything that you can kind of put in the box of most likely to happen, it would be work requirements for the program.
Yeah, and we were looking at that for the state of Missouri, is looking at work requirements for Medicaid, and they didn't seem, from what I saw in the state of Missouri, overly burdensome or onerous. It was able-bodied between 19 years old and 49 years old. Volunteer work would count. Basically, that you're contributing in some way. And again, I think the key being able-bodied, they're not going to make a disabled or very, very ill people to do this. And it didn't seem overly burdensome, but I don't see how does that save a ton of money?
I guess, well, first of all, however, Missouri's designing it their way. I guess it would depend on the details of how the federal government designed it, obviously. But I guess it would save some money. I think I've seen the scores that I've seen are in the ballpark of $100 billion. Of course, like how that plays out in real life is a different question. I guess the bottom line is work requirements alone will not get you to that nearly $1 trillion number that you're looking for, or Republicans may be looking for in the future.
Caitlin Owens, Axios senior policy reporter, is with us here on KMOX. And I think that, just the talk overall of trying to reduce the deficit and all of that, when a lot of the projections here of these tax cuts that could be coming is that it will add to that deficit.
Right.
So, I mean, how do they square that? How do they square this push, this constant fight of we gotta do something about the deficit? We have to, but we're also going to give a bunch of money in tax cuts, in particular to people who already have a ton of money.
I will preface this by saying I am not a tax policy expert, but yeah, I think it's just by saying there's a few different things you hear, right? That it's going to juice the economy, the tax cuts, and so that'll make up for some of these, but some of the budget deficit that it creates. One argument you're going to hear a lot about is that, well, this is already current policy. We're already operating in this world with these reduced tax rates. Like, it doesn't actually cost us money to keep operating in that world, despite what, official scorekeepers say. I think it's just kind of this commitment to a lower tax rate and the belief that drives GDP up. But no one, well, I should say some people buy that. Most of the think tanks and the experts and everyone I'm looking at, or that I see coming in, they don't buy that argument, right? Like, maybe some of it would be offset by economic growth, but not all of it, not to the tune of $4.5 trillion. And just remember, it could be even more than that, because President Trump on the campaign trail called for additional tax cuts that could be in play.
Yeah, it's looking at some of the cuts that are being made. I think I've heard several people refer to the Goldilocks problem when it comes to trying to cut the budget, trying to be more efficient, is that sometimes things are either way too big to just cut or way too small, right, to make a difference, which I can see that the issues with that. I'm not sure. Has the focus then, like you said, the work requirements, that's been something that Republicans have focused on, but just going back to this ballooning in 2016 from the states directly doing their direct managed care, wouldn't that be the most obvious focal point if that's where you start to see it balloon, or was it very, very beneficial?
I think that one reason it would be a focal point. Okay, so if you're going to cut Medicaid spending, right, there's a few different ways to think about it. And so to cut federal spending, let's assume states aren't going to raise taxes to offset that, right? Which is an option, right? Like, states could always be like, okay, actually, we're just going to find a way to make up for this and keep spending the same amount. But otherwise, your options are either to pass those cuts down to enrollees, so either reduce benefits or reduce enrollment, or you can reduce what you pay healthcare providers, so your doctors and your hospitals. Politically, I think and this is my hunch, based on some reporting too, I think at this point in time, it's easier to cut what providers get paid than it is to cut the benefits or the enrollment of Medicaid enrollees themselves. So yeah, in that way, it does seem politically advantageous to go after those payments. That being said, the second that the idea of Medicaid cuts got floated, my inbox just got hit with all kinds of hospital provider statements saying, hey, don't touch Medicaid, because they know that ultimately could mean big cuts to them.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line is people are going to want to know, people who are on it, who need it, who rely on it, how it's going to affect them, right? So when will they know? And how will they know how much they're going to be affected?
That is the question, right? At this point, that's the big on Capitol Hill. This week, we see, the Senate is passing their budget, which has nothing to do with Medicaid cuts, as far as I know. This time around, the House is moving forward with theirs. The process is messy and complicated right now. So, I think until we figure out which version even of legislation, the House or the Senate one we're going with, until they figure that out, timing is so up in the air, right? It could be, I don't know, this spring. It could be, if they do 2 different rounds of legislation, it could be into the fall. There's a lot up in the air, which I'm sure is not helpful to people on Medicaid who want to know what's going to happen. But this is sort of a process that's really, in some ways, unpredictable, and we just don't know how it's going to shake out.
Caitlin, appreciate the reporting and your time today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me.
Caitlin Owens, Axios senior policy reporter. You can read her coverage on this issue on Axios.com. It is Amy Marks-Kors and Chris Ranji. You've got KMOX.
From fast breaks to buzzer beaters to block parties, there's nothing as exciting as basketball. And with football over, with Underdog, you can bring that basketball excitement to wherever you watch. Playing on their app is as easy as choosing higher or lower on players' stats, like threes made, points, rebounds, and much more. Get those selections right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. This is Tom Ackerman. Millions of fans have won over billions on Underdog. Will you be next? Join in on the fun by signing up for Underdog today using promo code TOM, and you'll get a free selection as part of your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's the Underdog app and promo code TOM. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, covering Cardinal spring training as the Redbirds get ready for a new season. Hear my reports mornings and afternoons, as well as evenings on a Graybar Sports Open Line.
Get everything you need to know about what's happening at Redbirds Camp with the Cardinal Spring Training Reports. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Wilkie Window and Door, and Norm's Bargain Barn. On your home of the St. Louis Cardinals, KMOX.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Are you looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance of a home? Check out the Towns of Linneman. New townhomes by Lombardo Homes, located in St. Peters. These luxury new construction townhomes are located on the south side of Route 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. The multi-million-dollar amenity package includes a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, children's play area, and walking trails. Visit LombardoHomes.com for more information.
What does Del Walmsley, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, think you need to succeed in this market?
It's time to buy, and so you better get prepared, you better get educated, you better get your money right. You need to get involved because you're going to need the financing. You're going to need the vendors that we have available to us. You're just going to need the interaction with people. You need to immerse yourself into real estate.
Start your real estate immersion with a free workshop live online at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Locally focused, nationally trusted. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks-Kors with you. And 60 Minutes last weekend, Ranji, everybody is still talking about it because they had a really... you want to say interesting, but it was
revealing,
terrifying and revealing look into some of the what could be called speech codes in Europe, specifically in Germany. And we all know that it's a crime to do or say pro-Nazi stuff in Germany, which kind of makes sense that they don't want you going there again.
Let's not go down that path.
But the thing is, now if you were to bully someone, like say something hateful or racist in person, you can get in trouble with the law. If you were to post a meme that is considered offensive, you are breaking the law. If you are to repost, like retweet a meme or something that could be considered offensive, you would get in trouble. And we're not talking a ticket. We are talking like an actual raid with like a SWAT team. And their 60 Minutes went along on a raid where this German SWAT team went after a kid who had reposted an offensive meme.
Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes.
Yes,
it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes.
The fine could be even higher if you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there. If we are talking here face to face, you insult me, I insult you, okay, finish. But if you in the internet, if I insult you or a politician,
that sticks around forever.
Yeah.
The prosecutors explain German law also prohibits the spread of malicious gossip, violent threats, and fake quotes.
If somebody posts something that's not true, and then somebody else reposts it or likes it, are they committing a crime?
Yeah, in the case of reposting, it is a crime as well, because the reader can't distinguish whether you just invented this or just reposted it. That's the same for us.
The punishment for breaking hate speech laws can include jail time for repeat offenders.
Absolutely insane. And it was terrifying. We talk about free speech all the time. And I had a friend who applied for a job at the ACLU. And they warn you when you work at the ACLU, like, just so you know,
we defend Nazis.
We defend the speech of Nazis. We protect racists because the whole point of free speech is that you have to allow it in the public square. And of course, you can look down on someone, but you can't arrest them. You need a country with free speech, because who is the one determining what speech is offensive or not, what is true or not? Even fake quotes, like they were saying in this 60 Minutes piece. I will say this, it wasn't particularly, I don't think it was done well from a journalistic standard, in the sense that they didn't talk to anybody who wasn't part of the German speech police. And so they didn't get the other side of like, yeah, I'm a parent whose 15-year-old was arrested and our house was raided by 8 officers with guns because my teenager retweeted a fake quote, didn't know it was fake. Who knows? And so it was really a scary and eye-opening segment, because Ron's like, it's, I love Europe. Europe's great. It's fun. It's considered, it's our ally. It's the free world. However, in the United States and the way we uphold and cherish freedom of speech, it made me so much more appreciative not to take that for granted, because I thought that was terrifying. And Charles C.W. Cook, he's a like George Will, a low voltage atheist, libertarian who is on various platforms, including National Review. And he has a British accent, and he goes, I don't know how they could sit there and listen to the Germans with their accent. He goes, how did the Germans not say, oh no, we are doing that things that we tend to do every so often?
Well,
where we start telling people what they can say and can't say.
First of all, I understand where it's coming from, because there is a deep regret and shame, and there should be, even this many decades later, over what happened there.
Which is not that many.
Yeah,
Which is
right.
not that many
but
decades.
Most people weren't alive when it was going on. Most people now were not alive back then. But still, as a nation, I think it's okay to feel a little bit of shame, so that you can correct the behavior or make sure it doesn't happen again. However, the thing that I think when I hear all of this is we have so many complainers in this country about how my free speech is being taken away. No, it isn't.
It's not.
No, it isn't. Even if you are deplatformed from Facebook or from Twitter because you spew nonsense and the moderators decided, okay, that's enough of your nonsense, that is not taking away your First Amendment rights. Your First Amendment rights are that you can't go to jail or be punished or be arrested because you posted something online, unless it was a threat.
Or said it in person.
A direct threat is different. That's gone.
Oh, yeah.
That's beyond free speech. That is a threat to somebody's livelihood or their lives or their safety, right? So that's a completely different thing. But I don't want to hear people complain about how, oh, they throttled my post on Facebook because it's nonsense and my free speech is being taken away. You are guaranteed free speech from being arrested. You're not guaranteed having a platform.
Yes.
There is no
and-
guarantee in the Constitution about you having a platform to spew your nonsense, whatever that is.
And I do want to say good on Marco Rubio when he was interviewed by Margaret Brennan. And Margaret Brennan said, how do you feel about this, knowing, in a country, Germany, that free speech was weaponized to commit genocide? He said, whoa. No, Margaret, there was no free speech in Nazi Germany. It was coerced speech. It was severely restricted, mandated speech. That wasn't free speech. I don't know what in the world was in Margaret Brennan's head, why she would say such a at best misguided statement, but just ultimately ignorant and wrong. It was not free speech in Nazi Germany. So good on Marco Rubio for saying, no, that was not free speech. That was the government saying, here is what you will say or we'll arrest you.
But I think for me, there is nothing more important in terms of a lesson to take away here is that you as an American are not having your free speech taken away from you. Because,
and it's sacred. Our free speech is sacred.
It isn't.
It isn't being taken away, but it is sacred.
That's right.
Yes.
Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. When we come back, we know you're afraid of flying now because too many accidents are happening. So we are going to talk to an unnamed pilot who knows a thing or two about it. And this unnamed pilot is coming to help you feel better. That's next on KMOX.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Stay informed. Stay entertained. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
At 12. Got 26 degrees downtown at the Arch. Pope Francis's medical team says the pontiff's condition is not life-threatening, but they said today that Francis is not out of danger. The 88-year-old pontiff marked his first week in a hospital with pneumonia on top of chronic bronchitis. Francis's doctor said that he would remain hospitalized at least all of next week. We've got road work on Lindbergh going south at Elm Grove Lane. That's in the right lane. Also, road work on 70 west at the Missouri River. That's got the left lane closed and the shoulder there closed as well. And that crash, updating that 55 north at Lindbergh. The right lane is closed. Was the 2 right lanes. Now just 1 right lane is closed there. Forecast is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning and Electrical. This afternoon, some sunshine and cold with a high of 27 degrees. For tonight, clear, cold, low 10 in the coldest suburbs to 17 downtown at the Arch. Tomorrow, sunshine, high temperature 41. Right now, 26. Feels like it's 34 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Furnace funky?
Then make one call.
And Jerry Kelly will be there the very next day.
Call anytime, 8 to 8, 8 days a week.
And Jerry Kelly will fix your furnace or install a new one the very next day.
Jerry Kelly.
TireRack.com. We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
News, talk, and the heartbeat of St. Louis. This is KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you on a Friday, and maybe you're getting ready to go on vacation. Maybe you are a little nervous about flying just because of all of the airplane incidents that have been in the news recently. Very unsettling. I get it. And so, Ranj, I thought, who better to talk to bring us peace of mind, to give us a little reassurance than my pilot friend.
Oh, pilot friend.
So he's on the line now. We've got my pilot friend on the line.
Hello, pilot friend.
Hello?
Thanks for having me.
We have to be, he's got to be anonymous, right? Because his employer, right?
Yeah, I think we should probably keep it that way.
Okay. So what do we call you? How about Viper? Should we call you Viper?
Oh, geez, no, don't do that to me.
Okay. Jester? Do you like Jester?
We'll keep it with pilot friend.
Okay.
What if his call sign was pilot friend? Jester, Viper, and pilot friend.
Oh, boy. All right.
Like...
Well, what do you guys got for me today?
Okay. This guy, what are you flying a plane now? Are you in the air?
Yeah, you're not busy.
No. The last time I was on, we were going to talk about turbulence because Amy was going over to Switzerland and she was deathly afraid of that. And Chris quickly turned that into, where does the toilet water go?
Yes. Well, can we recap that real quick?
Where does mystery? So that's good.
Well, okay,
so,
for people who missed it.
That's right.
For people who missed it. And again, this is a pilot friend. This guy knows what he's doing. He flies for a living, so feel reassured. But before we get to turbulence, when you flush the toilet, where does that water go?
On the houses below, right? If I remember
no,
right.
we debunked that myth last time.
Okay.
But yeah, so as we mentioned last time, depends on the airplane, but most of them have a giant holding tank that it gets sucked away and just held there until they get on the ground, and then it is dumped away. And I believe Chris wanted to know how powerful that suction was when you hit the flush button last time. And I had advised to at least get up and finish your business before you hit the button.
Oh, really?
Would you get vacuum sealed to the seat?
Well, it's pretty strong, but I'm not going to test it.
So the part in Tommy Boy where Tommy gets his tie caught in the toilet, that could happen?
That's the old system. That's the old Blue Juice system that we don't use anymore. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
But don't flush while your bottom's down.
I wouldn't.
Why?
You can. But...
My gosh.
You have
like a ring on your butt
Might take off
cheek.
your danglies. You don't want that.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
I don't know that you can't. Anyway, the sink though, when the water, you're washing your hands, that does go straight out of the plane.
Yes, that does. And I know the airplane I fly a 757. It definitely vents right out the plane.
All right.
Okay, pilot friend, since we have you, people are terrified to fly because we see planes landing upside down. There have been other pretty awful incidences. How nervous should people be to fly now? And are all of these things that we've seen lately, is this out of the ordinary, or does it happen more often than we realize, and we're just now hearing about them?
I think it's a little combination of both, where it does happen more often, and then once media gets a hold of it, it's the front page of everything. But for more reassuring, the turbulence aspect is and I did a little digging before. NTSB did a report, it was about a 10-year from 2008 till 2019. And of that entire decade, turbulence, it accounted for some injuries, but it did not damage a single airplane. So, Amy, when you were flying to Switzerland, how was it?
Well, it was perfectly smooth. I had one of the best flights, which was very different than my flight in 2015, I think it was, when I flew to Australia. And it felt like turbulence the whole way. And the pilot did say that usually he can make that flight from Dallas to Sydney in just over 16 hours. And it took us all of 17 hours, which he said was unusual because of the winds or whatever. Would that make sense that you would be using more fuel if you are facing turbulence?
Yeah, it's we change altitudes for turbulence. We pull the throttles back for turbulence, and that'll save some fuel, add some time, a little bit of everything. But I think the thing with turbulence is it's one of those things that that's the number one thing when I ask people, why don't you like flying? And the number one response is turbulence.
Yeah.
Followed by, I'm not in control. So I don't know which one you are, Chris. Which is yours?
Probably the not in control thing. The turbulence is like it's slightly alarming when it happens, but I know it's probably okay. And as long as I have my seatbelt on, I'm fine, right? Like that's the whole deal. It should be belted while they're sitting down because that can happen at any time.
Absolutely. Just like in the car, you're belted anytime, just in case. And what we've seen lately, if, gosh forbid, a plane flips upside down, you're secured. But, it's, I think, like we're saying, the turbulence, some people, because it just seems to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It seems like it just, all of a sudden you're up, you're down, and then you're smooth, and then you're up, you're down, you're smooth. Why is it happening? And so that tends to freak people out a lot. And then obviously the not in control, which that part I can't help unless you want to get your pilot's license.
Well, yeah, I don't like the turbulence. I mean, it does feel like the plane is shaking apart. It feels like it's bad for the plane. And you've said it's not, like it's fine. But the big drops, you know how there's like the bumpy turbulence, and then it's when your stomach drops and you're like, and everyone kind of gasps. I hate that. What is that?
We call that in the biz negative G's.
Okay.
So your positive G's are when you feel like your stomach's going to your feet, and your negative G's, you feel like your stomach's coming out of your throat, where you're basically falling. But it's the same. You just hit a pocket of air, and sometimes it takes you up, sometimes it takes you down, sometimes it's a change of wind up there. There's a million different reasons why it's caused. The most common is flying through clouds. Everybody thinks that's a nice, puffy, soft, white thing that you can go through, and that's always going to bump you around.
Well, do you feel that in the cockpit too, or does training?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm just wondering if training washes that out.
No, it's you kind of. We feel more for the people behind us because we're used to it. It's just like a captain on a boat that don't get seasick anymore, but they're probably worried about the passengers on board. We feel it, and we try to avoid it because of that. But it's something that we're used to, so we're comfortable with, so we're okay with it. But we still try to move around, change altitude or speed or whatever it is to try to, mitigate it.
I know planes are very technologically advanced, but when I picture you guys, the pilots, in the cockpit hitting turbulence, it looks like whenever they show a truck driver in the movies, like their hands tending to on the steering wheel, like, oh, what is that?
What are we actually doing?
What are you actually doing? Yeah.
Are you guys on your phones up there?
We're actually sitting with our arms crossed, just watching things to make sure it's okay. But yeah, if we're flying, if we're actually hand flying, it does look like that. The steering wheel, you call it, or the yoke, is moving back and forth a decent amount. But it's the toughest part, honestly, is when it starts bouncing around a lot. We're doing things up there. We're typing in things into our computer. We call it the FMS, Flight Management System. And they're little buttons just like your computer. So imagine trying to type in your coordinates while you're getting bumped around. It's not easy to do. We change radio frequencies. We actually do manipulate the autopilot, and those things get really challenging. But yeah, we're up there just watching.
This sounds like distracted driving to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about.
Hey, there's some of us in the back trying to type too.
When I'm driving and I look over, I know when somebody's texting. I can tell.
Yeah.
That's what this sounds like.
So,
well, I don't know if this is putting anybody to ease or making it worse.
Right. Does it?
Oh yeah, we were supposed to make people
I know.
feel better.
Well, I know. My next question: Does it feel weird when you are flying the plane then and you get one of those stomach dropper negative G feelings? Like as far as not your body, but just I don't know. Your hands aren't on the yoke.
Nope,
Okay.
They're not at that point. I mean, if it's takeoff and landing, yes. But no, it doesn't feel any different. You're just kind of like I said before, you're kind of along for the ride. You know, you'll punch through it. It's kind of like being on a boat and going behind over somebody's wake. You know it's coming. You hit it, you jostle a little bit, and then you go right back to it.
I will ask you one serious question because all these moments have happened lately and some tragedies have occurred. And there's been a lot of discussion about, whether or not there aren't enough air traffic controllers or they're not capable or, there's understaffing, whatever the problem is. Do you notice anything like that? Does it seem, because you've been a pilot for a bit now, does it seem like there is a staffing problem or there is a competency problem?
I think it's more of we are shoving more airplanes into a tiny space and we're just running out of room. And we're not talking about just the airports themselves, what they can handle, but we have a lot of airports and a lot of spaces that just the airspace itself is just crammed. And we keep putting more in there, more and more and more. Every year it gets more traffic, and it's not just the airlines, it's the smaller private jets, it's the Cessnas, it's the everything. So it's just getting congested. I don't think I know there's a shortage right now. And that seems to come in ebbs and flows with everything. There was a pilot shortage a couple years ago. That's starting to null itself out a little bit. There's a controller shortage. But really, in my opinion, I just think it's just oversaturated. And I think what you're going to find is flight times, people aren't going to like it, but they're going to go more towards these red-eye flights where there isn't much traffic there. And it's a lot less congested. And again, it's not ideal. It's not ideal to be flying from midnight to 6 a.m, but I think we're going to see more of that stuff start to open up.
Yeah, I know they're not saying this was the reason or anything, but Reagan National, that airspace, that airport, they were saying is just like one of the most congested we have in the country. That's a busy stretch right there.
Yeah, you have Reagan, you have BWI, Baltimore, you've got Dulles, it's right there. That's 3. And it's just as bad when you get up to New York. You have all them, the JFK, the LaGuardia, the Newarks, the Teterboro, so many that are congested. So it's tough. We're running out of concrete to put these airplanes on, and we're definitely running out of airspace.
Well, but to end on a happy note, I guess, it's still, the numbers show flying's still the safest way to travel. Like when I drove to work the other day and Highway 40 was snow covered and we had all these idiots behind the wheels driving like maniacs, driving too fast, I thought, flying is a lot safer than what I'm doing right now.
Absolutely. And I still, obviously it's my job, but put my family on the planes all over the place. We just got back from Colorado, did a ski trip up there. And side note for anybody that is going to be flying into Denver, if you haven't done it a bunch for the spring break, it does get bumpy there. You're going to get jostled around. Yeah. It's the mountains. It's the airflow coming over those things. But, it's completely normal, completely can get handled. But yeah, I think the tough part is people kind of write off the, like you mentioned, Amy, that I can get the odds are stacked against me to drive in a car to work. But people do see that, people walk away from accidents where in aviation, it's rare if you see something that people walk away, but it is still the most safest way to travel right now.
Also, I don't remember if I asked you last time, but is it true that flight attendants wash out the coffee pots in the bathroom?
They dump the coffee pot into the bathroom.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to say all of them, but that's
Into
where
the
it goes.
toilet?
That's where you want to put it.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, gross.
There's no backsplash. That's the end of the flight.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the end of the flight.
Splashback.
Nothing's happening.
Oh.
Well,
So,
anyway.
yeah.
All right.
Well, if we haven't made people feel good, we've at least roast them out. So that's good.
That's our only goal. Make them feel good or make them queasy. Well, pilot friend, thank you so much. Can we keep you on call in case we need you again?
Absolutely. Maybe we should name this segment to like a Turb Talk or just something to get a little more people behind it.
He's trying to say that turbulence isn't so bad. Is that polishing a turb?
Yeah.
There you go. Polishing a turb. There you go.
And we will dish on Turb.
All right.
This segment.
Thanks, Viper.
Thank you, pilot friend.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye. That is my pilot friend. It is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, covering Cardinal spring training as the Redbirds get ready for a new season. Hear my reports mornings and afternoons, as well as evenings on a Graybar Sports Open line.
Get everything you need to know about what's happening in Redbirds Camp with the Cardinal Spring Training Reports. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Wilkie Window and Door, and Norm's Bargain Barn. On your home of the St. Louis Cardinals, KMOX.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. This month, we are focusing on National Cancer Prevention Month. And joining us is Dr. Graham Kolditz, Associate Director at Siteman Cancer Center.
Working to increase access to screening and early detection across the region and across the spectrum from prevention to detection and treatment.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough to retire? Well, you can discover how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class. It's called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these classes at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You'll learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security income, paying for health care, everything. And there's no cost. It's free. They ask that you bring 3 canned goods for a St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are a handful of openings for classes this month and next. So register by calling 314-947-2012. 314-947-2012. It's the Sue Thomas number.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Now the pitch. The Cardinals hit the field this Saturday for spring training play against the Marlins. Pre-game 11:55, first pitch 12:10. And you can hear the Redbirds' first spring training game right here.
Hi, I'm Matt Adams. Your home of the Cardinals is KMOX.
Real quick, Amy, tomorrow is City SC's first game of the year.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I did know that.
We did not mention fan favorite has been traded. Indiana Vasilev. Yeah, he's off to Philadelphia. And City has acquired $1 million.
This is especially sad.
$1 million.
Especially sad for Ranji's mom.
Oh my God, she loves
That was her
Indiana.
favorite player.
Now she's
now
she's done with City SC.
What
She's
about-
burned all of her stuff.
What about
she went
Klaus?
she went out into the yard today.
Yeah.
And she took all of her scarves and
No.
shirts and winter hats and everything City SC, and she burned it.
Wow.
That's not true. She didn't do that, but she is upset.
What
Indy's
about
gone.
Klaus? Can she make Klaus her favorite? Or
I think she has a Klaus scarf. No,
Really?
it's a Roman Berkey scarf.
well, Roman Berkey.
Yeah, it's different.
He's like a GQ model, and he
very
plays
handsome.
for City.
Yeah. Anyway, so have fun tomorrow if you're going to the
Yep.
game. It'll be chilly, but fine.
Not too chilly though. I mean, it's warming up. It
Way
really is.
warmer than
it's gonna
today.
Be what 60 by Monday? 65?
Oh yeah, by I think Sunday even.
That is insane. Hey, guess what's going to happen for the first time in my life? It's going to happen this afternoon for the first time ever in my whole little life.
You're going to say I'm sorry. I'm kidding. You're always apologizing.
I
for
know.
stuff.
Sometimes I just nothing but regret and apologies. I even I'm like, man, my laugh. I apologize for my laugh. It is very harsh. At any rate, I'm going to do my taxes early.
What?
I'm submitting them this afternoon. That's early, right?
Yeah.
I've
you.
never. It's early, period.
And you did them by yourself, right?
Matthew.
Oh, sorry.
Did you do it by yourself?
No, I did it with my dad. My dad helped me with my taxes, and yes, I cried like I do every year.
You cried?
Yeah, I don't know why taxes make me cry.
Because you
It's just
are
overwhelming.
Oh my God.
There are too many numbers, and there are forms. And he's like, "Well, what about this? What about this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know. I'm not good at keeping track of things." And taxes is just—it's like holding up a mirror, but all the mirror shows is all of your shortcomings, all of your laziness, your character flaws, your peccadillos. And anyway, and so yes, I did cry, but my dad
You should have gone to public school.
to do taxes.
Well, that you learn life lessons.
You don't learn how to do taxes. I
No,
can
you
tell
don't
you
learn how
that
to do-
because that's like the one
No.
thing that
I
everyone
would
says.
say
Is
this-
why do the public schools not teach you how to? They teach you how to square dance. Homeschoolers teach you how
Well,
to
that's
square dance.
gym class.
We all learned how to square dance, but none of us learned how to do taxes.
Well,
You know what? Can you define a write-off?
you don't even know what a write-off is.
Yes, I do. It's you write it off. I don't know the tax people. They write it off.
So, Amy, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I haven't
Be
gotten
proud
it.
of. You should probably be proud of my dad.
Good job, Dave.
You should probably be
Dave
proud of my
gets it.
dad because he did all of the work while I stood there and cried.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time for you to grow up.
I did. It's
That's
gonna be
not
done.
Growing up is not you crying while your dad does your taxes. That's not
What's
growing
the
up.
difference?
What do you mean?
Because-
What's the difference?
Because like you're gonna cry whether your tax guy does it or your dad does
Nobody
your
cries.
taxes.
Who cries during taxes? Pajeski, have you cried?
Not even once.
James?
You have,
James
like,
doesn't send in his taxes.
10,
so
you have 10 seconds to text
let's
in
see.
314-436-7900.
yeah, if
You
you
have
cry,
10 seconds to text in. Just tell me if someone has cried.
and don't say I cried because I gotta pay taxes.
No,
No,
no, it's not
it's
that.
like crying doing your taxes
Listen,
because you can't figure it
If
out.
the government would say, Amy, you owe this much, I wouldn't cry. I'd be like, okay. And I'd write the check.
So easy.
It's the doing the taxes, not the paying the taxes, but the doing. And then they're like, well, do you have any write-offs? I'm like, I don't know. What counts as a write-off?
Here's the way it should be. The government says this is what you owe in taxes.
Yeah.
Unless you have a dispute, then show us your paperwork. Give us all of the things and all the reasons you think you shouldn't
like,
pay this much.
2011
That's the way it should be for
in
everybody.
2011, I was like tutoring and I was writing. And so I was working, I was self-employed. And the tax guy was like, did you buy anything for your office? I'm like, I mean, I bought a printer. He's like, how much was the printer? I was like, $80. He's like, okay, that's something you would write off if you use that printer for all of your teaching and your tutoring and your writing. And that's what it's for. I'm like, yes, that's what it's for. He said, do you have the receipt? I said, no, I don't have the receipt. He said, okay, listen, generally you want the receipt. I have a feeling since this is your only write-off, it's your $80 printer, that you're going to be okay. But I'm just saying you could be audited. And I'm like, no, then don't write it off. And I've been thinking about that. I think the statute of limitations is passed, but I haven't been audited for that $80 printer,
Nah, you're probably going to jail.
which I did use solely for work.
You're going to jail, and James is going to get a knock at his door because now everybody knows he doesn't submit his
Well,
taxes.
he would have, but I think they fired a bunch of IRS people, so there
Oh,
aren't
that's
enough
true.
people to knock on the doors anymore.
Damn. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy Cardinals baseball tomorrow at noon on KMOX and the Odyssey app. Enjoy City SC soccer. We'll be back with you Monday. How about that? 10 o'clock. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. Anything you missed is on the Odyssey app in podcast form. Have a good weekend, everyone. Dave Glover's next. 'Cause I got my pants dirty every time I go.
He does.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about